This is the hour, the darkest place. Dante's Inferno, the devil's maze. It's a good world, good world gone bad. State of affairs. Half the people die while the rest of us are splitting hairs. It's a good world, good world gone bad.
We break up and you slam the door. I messed up on the bedroom floor. What the hell do we do this for? I push you out but you come back. That attraction, we can't fight that. Oh, keep telling myself that I should let go, but I hold on. And oh, keep telling myself that I should move on, but I don't. 'Cause we got that mad love, we got that sad love, we got that fun love, we got that young love, yeah, that dumb love. 'Cause we got that mad love, we got that sad love, we got that fun love, we got that young love, yeah, that dumb love. We got that, 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 we got that love, we got that, we got that. Kiss me and the world disappears. Tell me the things that I wanna hear. I just wanna stay right here. You push me out, but I come back. That attraction, we can't fight that. Oh, keep telling myself that I should let go, but I hold on. And oh, keep telling myself that I should move on, but I don't. 'Cause we got that mad love, we got that sad love, we got that fun love, we got that young love, yeah, that dumb love. 'Cause we got that mad love, we got that sad love, we got that fun love, we got that young love, yeah, that dumb love. We got that love, we got that, 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 we got that
stop falling for you. 'Cause I Should've known that it was obvious. Should've read between the lines. Caught the eyes of the audience. Played your game where the rules do not apply. Now I see when it's out in the light. And I'm leaving your love behind. Now I see that you're out of my life. I don't need you.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Amazon University Esports Masters. It is the final day of competition here for our Rocket League playoffs. We have 4 teams remaining after we said goodbye to 4 of our 8 quarterfinalists yesterday. And we are looking forward to seeing those matches. But before we get there, my name is New Lake, and I'm joined by Tylacto to bring you today's action.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, yesterday as well, we had a great day thanks to Intel and Twitch Student. I'm expecting it to be the same today. We had all 4 of our quarterfinals, and they were a blast. I mean, the last one as well. I mean, sure, we opened up with a bit of a shock early in the morning, but I think it's fair to say that the last one certainly took the cake for me.
Yeah, that last match was definitely the most exciting one. Loughborough managing to squeak out a win just about in that series, and they will be first on stream today as well. Loughborough taking on VUB. Before we get there, though, we do need to remind you again that you can use the hashtag UEM2022 on Twitter to get involved, to maybe let us know exactly what your thoughts are on today's games and on the matches yesterday as well. If you have any extra thoughts, I know it took us a little while after stream to finish processing exactly how we felt about the whole thing.
Yeah, and reminder, because we let our viewers know yesterday that it's not just Rocket League here at UEM. I mean, we can bring up the rest of the pack. Look at them and the dates as well on the calendar. You got League of Legends, Rocket League, and of course Teamfight Tactics and Clash Royale too.
Clash Royale, the whole lot of a Teamfight Tactics starting in basically exactly a week at this point. So make sure that you have your signups in if you do want to play that, and make sure to stick around the stream here as well. Maybe drop a follow if you're interested in seeing how that game plays out. I know I've been playing a lot of Teamfight Tactics recently, so I'll probably be back to watch that. With that in mind, though, we'll take a look as well. This is, of course, the roadmap for Rocket League, where we are in, as said, our finals day, and it has been, well, a journey to get here. Group stage taking place over 4 days a few weeks ago, playoffs starting yesterday, and here we are into the finals. Started with some very good teams in this competition, Tylacto, and we have, as you've said already, said goodbye to some surprising upsets.
Yeah, certainly so. Surprising was the name of the game, I think, for the Rotterdam against Portsmouth matchup. Heyman Rye coming out and getting themselves to the semi-finals. I mean, ever since that group stage, you know, they had Loughborough in their pool, and we were saying before the broadcast knew it, there is still a chance of that all Group D grand final.
Yeah, it could be a very, very exciting one indeed. And that grand final, it is a fight for a share of the prize pool. The €6,000 prize pool up for grabs here. €3,000 of it going to first place, second place taking 1,800 of it home. Then that third, fourth place match that we'll be watching as well, €1,200 for third place, and fourth place going home with nothing, is going to mean the stakes are extremely high through all of our matches today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're going to have 4 teams coming to the day that made it to these semi-finals. And of course, like you say, the split between the top 3. It's not just the semi-finals we've got today. We got the third place playoff and that grand final. It's going to be 4 fantastic best of 7s, all of them best of 7. I am still feeling heavy-hearted in advance for the team that loses that third place playoff.
Oh, it's going to be so brutal coming today, playing through those 2 best of 7s, because every team guaranteed 2 best of 7 today, and to go home with nothing to show for it, going to be tough for them. But of course, it's going to be wonderful for the team that manages to come out on top. And I tell you, there's still a chance we do see that Belgian-German match, or that classic German-English match in the final. I mean, there's a lot of exciting options potentially here looking just at this bracket.
Certainly so. The VUB run for Belgium still alive. They're certainly the ultimate dark horse as far as I'm concerned coming in to today. It was a strange series against the Italians of CF Utopia, University of Salerno. It was back and forth, so many goals, but they came out on top, and we get to see them in our first series of the day against the Loughborough Lions.
And I suppose we could potentially talk a little bit more about that first match that we are going to see. We'll talk plenty about the other side of the bracket when we get to that match as well, where things are going to be equally exciting as Hyman Rye will be riding high after their win over Portsmouth yesterday. But for the meantime, let's stick with VUB and with the Loughborough Lions, and let's talk a little bit about how they got here. As you say, that match that VUB won yesterday over CF Utopia was one of the strangest series of Rocket League I have ever watched. It was incredibly one-sided for both teams at different points during it. CF Utopia in match 2 came out and won 7. So it wasn't the Brazil, but it was close to it.
Yeah, I think it was like 6-1 or 6-0. But the key thing being that it was on Utopia Coliseum, so they had the home stadium buff, as it turned out to very much be the case. The rest of the games that series, fair play to VUB, they completely wiped the floor off them, as it's also, of course, Group B that have 2 teams left in the competition. I mean, we should say that, Group A and C, they're done for now, because both VUB and Dortmund were in Group B. And of course, that was that tiebreaker at a 5-1 record. VUB topped that group, and they come in to face against the group toppers of Group D in Loughborough. So fair play. These are 2 teams very much in form, which sometimes I feel like we forget to register, because we're kind of surprised in the case of VUB and Loughborough.
Yeah, and I think that is fair to mention, is that, form is, as they say, temporary, and class is forever. But sometimes when a tournament is really taking place over the last couple of weekends, when your big matches all take just 2 days to complete, form is enough to carry you over that finish line. And VUB, if they do show the form that they showed at times during that match against the Italians yesterday, well, I think Loughborough are going to be in for a bit of a rude awakening in this series, because I'd imagine they're coming in with confidence, and the confidence of being a team from the UK, right? Because the UK do very well in international competition at the moment, Tylacta. They're a very strong region, and you feel like, well, we've got more practice against top teams. We should be kind of maybe favored coming into this match against a VUB that don't see as much of this top level of competition. But with that said, I mean, Loughborough, they have their own peaks and inconsistencies to deal with coming into today.
Yeah, certainly they do. The UK, not always on top. There were certainly some dark ages, and maybe they'll be rearing their ugly head again. But I don't mind if VUB want to do it. I am all for it. Loughborough, of course, they were our final matchup yesterday in that 7-game thriller against Dusseldorf. And let's not forget, this is a very different time for them to be starting. 3 hours earlier start for them. Hopefully they're going to hit the ground running and fresh. But we know this isn't a usual time schedule for some of the players as well. It probably should be, but that's just not how lifestyles end up turning out, is it? But we'll have to see. I mean, VUB, maybe they're in a similar boat. I like what you say about about form being able to potentially carry you over the couple days, but they're going to have at least 2 games. I think every team's going to have 2 games as opposed to just the 1 series they had yesterday. So it's also going to be a bit about endurance too.
Yeah, I mean, especially if this first series go long, if you're going to win your semi-final, try and do it in 4 instead of in 7, as that'll make life a little bit easier for you moving forward in the competition. You'll have a little bit more of that stamina, and we're not just talking, of course, about the Loughborough player. You're right, though. I think it is worth mentioning for a tournament that does start earlier in the day, as this one does, that it is unfamiliar territory for some of our players. I know Portsmouth yesterday after their series were saying, one of their players had to drive home at 6 a.m. yesterday, and another one had been working until 2 a.m. the night before, and getting up early in the morning being the first match on stream definitely potentially didn't favor them. We had questions about, is this a Portsmouth that are in form as much? And I think that was a very good example of how even a very good team can fall a little bit to just playing at an unexpected time, not being as awake, not being as prepped for a match as they'd usually be.
Yeah, the thing is how much of an effect that takes place, and how quickly you can sort of wake up and get the processes going as a team and just feel that you're actually able to hit your stride. Because if you come in and you lose game 1 by a supremely large margin, the likes of which CF Utopia did do yesterday against VUB, which maybe is an omen that there's more from that to come from VUB. Maybe they are very much here. I mean, absolutely, he always had VUB in his name. Clearly the dedication is strong, and he's ready to absolutely smack Loughborough in the first game of the series. I feel like I'd believe that when I see it, though. I feel like it's fair to say Loughborough are a team of a different caliber usually to CF Utopia.
You'd imagine so, but with that in mind, VUB, they have some very strong players of their own. Bram and LXS stepping up yesterday, of course, and Absolute, I think, we called out maybe the question mark at times on the team, stepped up and had some big performances, had a couple of big goals during the series and showed that he's there to hang with the other good players on his team.
Yeah, and of course, Bram and LXS still, for me, leading the way. Absolutely, for Absolute, of course. If you pardon me there on that one. He was playing fantastic at times against Salerno, and you do want to credit that because it's so good to see him involved and VUB playing so strong as a 3. But I feel like he's going to have to be involved all the time, both offensively and defensively, if VUB are going to really be able to consistently push Loughborough back into their own half.
Yeah, and speaking of that Loughborough roster, we do have Crimson, Stamina, and Nando. And on this side, I think, again, you can kind of point clearly to potentially Crimson and Stamina leading the way, but Nando also getting involved. So I think as a 3-man roster, you maybe have to look at them as a little bit more cohesive than VUB at times.
Yeah, certainly so. Nando, maybe you can maybe spare a bit of focus for him potentially. I mean, he was, very much slotting in place yesterday. You see him in the Twitch chat this morning. He's up. He's ready to go. He is ready to be here in Loughborough. We know the sacrifices they made to get to this point. This means a lot to them as well. Sure, just as much to VUB, but when the stakes of making it to the grand finals and immediately securing yourself into that 6K prize pool of money, there's a lot of stress on this series.
There's quite a lot of pressure, just making sure that you have a share of money just directly out of this. Doesn't matter what happens in your second series of the day. Both of these teams will be hungry for it. I think Loughborough, especially the sacrifice of, potentially not competing as much as maybe they would have liked to at home domestically, and the sacrifice of having to wake up early on a Sunday morning. It sacrifices all the way down, Tylacta. Yeah,
no, it certainly is. And that's okay. We've spared a bit of sorrow for them, but now it's time for the action as far as I'm concerned. There's no more excuses. You got to get down on the field. You got to play. From what I gather, we'll be playing on DFH day as well. So if they're not, if they've not got the sun coming through their windows or blinds already this morning, this will simulate that. And I'd like to think we get some great Rocket League straight away.
Yeah, fingers crossed the Rocket League will be high-paced, will be high-scoring as well. If these teams yesterday were anything to go by, I think there's a decent chance that we see that. VUB, they looked lethal in front of net. For as wild as that series was, one of the things we did highlight was that actually it was kind of clinical at both times by teams, by both teams in that series. They were scoring some good goals that you looked at and said, actually, I'm not sure even a better defense could have stopped that one. I'm hoping we see a chance again from VUB to maybe get that one going. And Loughborough, we know as well that they're capable of scoring those goals, that they're capable of setting up an offense that will challenge some tougher defenses.
And we're going to have to see who is challenged early on here in the first game of the day. It's the first game of our first best of 7 semi-final here at UEM 2022 between the Loughborough Lions from the UK and, of course, VUB of Brussels, Belgium. They are in the blue here, trying to deny the favourites from this side of the bracket. You'd have to say Loughborough probably looked stronger yesterday, but will they look stronger today when it matters most?
It's hard to tell if they will, as it's going to be an incredibly close match either way. You'd have to imagine it is potentially early chances going through for the Orange squad, but Loughborough, I haven't made it stick yet. That's going to go onto the back wall now. Stam looking for a bump as well. Hasn't come off, but Loughborough with a bit of early pressure and looking to really make VUB question their position. That's a bit of a double commit in front of net, but it has worked out okay for the time being.
And there's a big dunk from Nando, though, as he got the boost to follow up the double. He nearly had the second contact. Stamina had too much contact, slamming it into the crossbar from point-blank range, and Loughborough absolutely hounding the VUB defense around, but somehow not getting the goal to show for it just yet.
Goal just yet. VUB chance to break free. That's just a long ball. That's just in, Tylacta.
And that's a huge response from VUB. This would be massively under the skin of Loughborough. They'll have felt like they deserved a goal to open here, and Absolute has caught them completely open at the back. He's just going to tuck it in cross-field.
That's one to the good for VUB against the run of play. A minute of pressure from the Loughborough Lions with nothing to show for it. Potentially a kickoff goal the other way as well. Absolute chasing that one, but won't find it as Nando gets one clear. Ball still in a dangerous position. It's on target, but will be saved away. Stamina manages to clear the lines this time.
Oh, and Absolute just slightly whiffing that contact on the wall, but LXS was nearly able to sneak another one in at the front post. It would have been 2 in the blink of an eye for VUB here, and Loughborough really need to watch themselves. They could lose control of this faster than they could blink as Crimson, she's up but can't regain control in the air enough to get that ball on target. And Stamina also high and wide. I mean, Loughborough just throwing it all at the wall and hoping it sticks right now.
Nothing is stuck just yet, but this could be the play. If a bump had landed onto Absolute there, you'd have to say that maybe that was going to result in a goal. Again, Crimson is just getting involved on the goal line, making a nuisance of herself in front of the defense, but it hasn't resulted in the goal just yet. It has resulted in Loughborough, in fact, having to clear their own lines once again. The counter-attacking play, the long balls are looking dangerous from VUB.
And Nando does cut it out, though. Loughborough are going to try and catch them in transition, but without any more boost, Nando was unable to do too much more with that ball. And Absolute putting in the defensive work as well. Bram will poke it back into the corner. Thankfully, get a demo on Nando because he sort of let that one uncontested. Meanwhile, Crimson demoing Absolute. It's a little bit of a war zone early on. We asked if the players will be up and rise and shining. It turns out that they have chosen violence already.
Nice and early in the morning, and well, just a few demos to go along with it. That'll get you woken up, get the blood flowing, if nothing else will. The rage at wanting to get your opponents back.
More than woken up, waiting to respawn. I've been missing my limbs. This is ridiculous. Like, I don't want to be demoed IRL. I would imagine that'd feel nice. That feels very nice from Stamina. A beautiful read off the backboard. Underneath the crossbar, all tied up.
That was... It felt like coming for a little while as Loughborough were the players going off the back wall, looking for something a little bit fancy against VUB's net. They'll finally land it. The question was, would they be able to in regulation time? Here we are, 2 minutes left on the clock, and Loughborough, they just need one more time to do that, and they'll get the go-ahead goal. VUB, it'll probably have to come off a counter-attack for them. They're not managing to set up a platform of their own to attack from. They're not really getting to spend any time in this orange half.
Yeah, still 4 shots to 2 in favour of Loughborough after 3 minutes of game 1 here. But of course, those 2 for VUB, it could easily have been 2 to the good at the point, but they'll be looking back at that in the past, hopefully looking forward to what they can do here in the remaining 2 minutes, because we're still tied up, and Bram is away. Bram is going to tuck it in. Talk about a counter-attack. Another open net. VUB going to punish.
Slightly assisted there by Stam, who was looking for a back pass and didn't find it, I think is the politest way I can say that.
No, I don't think he was very close to finding it, to be honest. He's still looking. Not sure what cupboard it's in. Maybe it's under the bed. Not sure. It absolutely nowhere to be found. Bram, he will happily collect, and VUB again going to frustrate Loughborough, who have let themselves down a couple times there. It's back on the offense for them, but time continues to tick, and they're going to need another equaliser with Bram running away from it. You'd feel like they'd have learned their lesson by now. That was nearly 3.
Look, they were just trying to show VB what they were attempting last time. It's like, look, that last back pass didn't come off, but this one will. I'm expecting a third attempt any second now. As long as VB don't score off this one, that's a miss. It was 2 big misses in midair. Both teams will fly past that ball. And here's Stam. A lot of space in front to work with. Will pop it high to Crimson, who will pass back down to Stam, and that could be. It is a very well worked goal.
It's a beautiful play from Loughborough, and it's Stamina on the end of it again. Crimson supplying a little pinch down off the ceiling, and Bram, no matter what, he can't get down that fast. He was stuck on the backboard. Tarzan couldn't slip down quick enough. It is 2-2.
2-2 and a minute left on the clock. Time for one team still to go ahead in regulation. It'll feel like it potentially. Loughborough, they'll be wanting to get this, having spent the amount of time that they have in front of this blue net. They'll feel it a little bit unfair if they don't come away with a goal. Here's a chance popped high before Nando, and Crimson choosing not to commit. Saw the defender coming across and didn't think that she was going to beat them to the ball. Still in position to collect this clear, though. Still in position to keep this attack moving for a little while longer. 50 seconds left on the clock, and VUB have had a breakaway again.
Now Bram's going to put it down off the ceiling. That one was popping out rather juicily. The shot not quite able to be taken, though, by Absolute. Bram, he can take the shot. It's round the corner from LXS, and suddenly in the blink of an eye, the UB back in front.
And you did kind of question, you know, will they be able to do it without being set up by Loughborough for the breakaway goal of their own? And the answer is yeah, absolutely. That's a lovely pass. It's a very, very nice finish by Bram as well. And now with 37 seconds left on the clock, those 2 goals that Loughborough let slip by them, they may come back to haunt them very much so in this game.
Yeah, and this is just the first game of this best of 7, ladies and gentlemen, in the semi-finals. UEM 2022. Crimson with a shot to the near post, and it's back and forth again. 6 goals, 3 Nurlag.
3 goals. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if you let 2 goals slip away from you if you can continue to equalize like this when you're given any space to do so. 25 seconds. I genuinely am starting to question, are we going to see a winner in regulation? Both of these teams feel like they could have the chance to do so.
I mean, there's definitely more goals in this. There has to be, mathematically, at least one more. I mean, Crimson is going to try and supply it, but still stuck on the defensive end. VUB trying to turn it over in the midfield, but Absolute can't quite reach that random pinch across field between LXS as well. That's from Crimson, but not going to be on target. Not quite stretching in time. Will we have an overtime? It seems like a fitting ending to this chaotic game one. I mean, Stamina, his clear's a little loose, but he's able to get back to it with the boost. Nando's 50 high towards the midfield. Crimson's up. Will the ball touch down? Absolute's kept it up, so hold the phone just a little bit longer before Nando's touch will indeed take it down low. And we're tied up. Overtime, this is anyone's guess.
It could go literally either way, and it could happen in literally any fashion as well. It feels like maybe just a double touch from Bram. He's ran out of boost, so that won't be happening. Big clear just rolling in. That could happen as well. It could be literally any way based on how these two teams are playing so far.
Absolute's got time in the midfield here. He's going to pick it up off that left-hand wall. Trying to cut in. No flip reset attempted. Nando was able to challenge it relatively early. Bram backs off and allows LXS to go. 50 relatively neutral as Nando's up for it, trying to poke it on target, though Absolute was covering in behind. Stamina's the one to pick it up and try and take it out in front. Won't be allowed round that side wall, though. Absolute very much standing strong on the sideboard.
Gave a lot of space to Stamina, but kind of just trusted that, yeah, you're going to come around the corner and I'm going to be here waiting for you. Well played by Absolute in defense. Got that ball clear, and it has taken a little bit of the pressure off, but the pressure's right back on with a double commit big clear by LXS. Crimson trying to watch it. Absolute is up for it, and Bram was contesting LXS, I should say, in front of that net. A chase from Stamina. Not going to lead to anything for the time being. Loughborough, it's back and forth now, much more than it was in the opening kind of 2.5 minutes. It's getting clear from VB's half a lot more, but it might not for too much longer. Crimson looking for the double touch. It's on target. What an angle that was. What a goal that is.
Welcome to UEM 2022. This goal from Crimson, that angle down. That's outrageous. How do you even attempt that? The brave, the courage to take it on and to win game one. In doing just that. It's 4-3 Loughborough, and I'll take a few more of those, Nuelek.
It'll go in the books as a win for Loughborough. I'm sure they'll want to maybe forget a little bit about the fashion in which it happened, as it was too close for comfort at times for them, largely off the back of their own play rather than their opponents. VUB though, and I think the important thing for them is they stepped up in the back half of the game. While sure, their first 2 goals came off the back of Loughborough kind of gifting them to them, VUB showed that they can score of their own volition as well, that they could get up, make the pressure work for them, and get the infield passes that they needed to. Bram with a really nice finish as well. Ultimately, it doesn't lead to the win, but they are right there in this series with Loughborough.
Yeah, end tally was 9 shots to 4 in favor of Loughborough. And VUB, they were very much in that game. The only worry I have is I feel like that was such a huge opportunity to tilt Loughborough, right? I feel like they'd have been so dissatisfied should they have had that game. They'd have felt robbed away from them. VUB, very much so, the strong defending, the counter-attacks, and the great goal to put themselves in front multiple times. Yet it still wasn't enough. I feel like a lot of things went nicely, you know, things went to plan, and yet still Crimson just sort of broke open the filibuster of the defense just with an incredible double touch with an angle down that just shouldn't be possible, but it just was. Yeah. And it's a lovely goal. VUB, they're going to need to find something similar. We know they're capable of it. They got plenty of games to work with, but are they going to find it?
They're going to have to hope so, and I think they're going to have to hope one more time for maybe a couple of mistakes from Loughborough, because again, you know, as much as it would have been a heartbreak for Loughborough to let that game slip away from them, it'll be a little bit of a heartbreak for VUB when that many things do go right for you. To not capitalize, to not close it out at the end, that's going to feel tough as well. Bram with a good 50 early on forces Stam to make a save after Crimson was beaten, and that's back nearly on target. LXS is beaten out by Stam with an awkward touch into his own back corner. It's still near the goal, but not on the goal for VUB, and there's the breakaway. Bram has rotated back in time to clear.
And how cautious will Loughborough be when they're going forward this time is the question I have to ask. I mean, apparently not cautious on the defense. That is just slammed him from Absolute following a whiff off the backboard, and VUB will once again have the lead.
It's the classic offensive style of see ball, attack ball, and it's worked out because Loughborough have just abandoned the ball in front of their own net. Crossbar down, Absolute will take those every day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, it was a new strategy from Nando called definitely see ball, just miss ball. Unfortunately, watch ball go into the back of my net in the first 30 seconds. It's Loughborough back down to reality, in a sense, following that fantastic winning game one. They still have it on the board, but VUB are once again forcing them to have to play from behind.
From behind, and it's not looked very comfortable for Loughborough, but it doesn't seem to really be changing their play style all that much. They're still going forward. They're still going to get shots like this towards the net, not on target for the time being, but they really do seem like the same team ahead and behind, which is nice to see because it's definitely not always the case for them. Here's an orange ball over the top. Crimson missing underneath, looking for bumps on players instead, and Stamina will try and get to this one, but Nando left on defense.
And Nando's not able to get it quite off the defense this time either. I mean, Stam threatening the double, but it's back towards the midfield. Crimson required and clears that one high and long downfield deep into the blue. LXS will pick up, but only for now, because Stamina and Crimson trying to link up again. Nando at the back will try and find him on the left-hand wall. It'll be Crimson to take the shot direct, but Absolute back in time, takes control. Can he get past one? It's flicked past one, but Stamina taking the possession back past the other. His pinch going to force a response, and Crimson's able to take that. Both VUB players on the back foot. She comes forward, looking for the pinch around the corner. Doesn't find it, but will find the flick out towards Stamina. This shot also blocked by Absolute, who is having a larger and larger role on the defensive side of things for VUB right now.
A huge one, and the defense in general for VUB stepping up a lot more. They're not allowing those shooting lanes to open up as quickly. They're kind of getting up into Loughborough's shooting zones before they get a chance to even get set up in them, which is really helping them. It turns out when you don't let your opponents shoot, you manage to save the ball a lot more of the time. Nando will team bump in the middle of the pitch, but it will keep this Loughborough attack moving forward. Here's a chance off the back wall. Crimson looking for another crazy double touch. It has just set it up as the defense was forced to respect the attempt.
Yeah, and certainly after overtime in game one, you understand why they were expecting. I mean, LXS, he was falling off the crossbar. He just can't get up in time to stop the rebound of Stam. I mean, you're right. I feel like to highlight it sounded obvious at the time, it's great for your success if you just block your opponent's shot and deny them a shot in the first place. But, I mean, there is a slight meaning and correlation I've found through score per game, but not in the way you'd expect. It's score against per game. The most successful teams in like RLCS as well as European University Rocket League history, right? Stamina threatening something there. They have the lowest scores scored per. I can't talk for 2 seconds without Crimson scoring a double touch at this point. I'll get back to it. Talk us through this.
Yeah. This is just Crimson picking up the ball in the middle of the pitch and showing you exactly why she needs to be feared when she has ball in hand in front of net. That's another lovely double touch. And I think the worry for VUB as well, they're not going to defend their backboard very well. They're going to have more shots coming in as the passes come off that backboard, as the double touches come through, and the score is going to be very high against them, Tylacto. But hey, they'll look for a few scores of their own. That's the crossbar. Now get back into it.
The highest win rate teams have the lowest points per game scored against them. That's it. So don't just stop your opponents from scoring. Stop them from touching the ball. Stop them from clearing the ball. Stop them from getting saved. Just don't let them farm the score, because apparently, it does make sense. They're clearly not doing anything with the ball. And a lot when you do with the ball in Rocket League is rewarded with points. We all like it when it comes up on our screen and you look at the scoreboard at the end. I don't remember doing anything that game, but the scoreboard said I did something. So that's something, I guess. Nearly something for VUB on the offense. But again, denied the shot this time by Loughborough. Their shot very much away, but Bram will collect the save. You see that? He's farming that save points.
He's farming the save points, but it's Loughborough farming more and more shots as well. And that's going to be a little bit scary, because shooting percentages, Loughborough, they'll start making a count eventually if you give them enough shots on target. At the moment, they've made a count just enough. 2-1 is the score heading into the last 90 seconds here of game 2. And with Loughborough up one game in the series, VUB, they'd be looking for an equalizer. They'd be very happy with an equalizer, and they'd like it soon. Here's a redirect attempt. It's a great redirect attempt. It's off target. Just about the post denies it. That would have been a crazy goal to see go in, but here's another chance for it. No, it's over Bram's head, and Stam may get the breakaway at the other end of the pitch. Has good ball control, has it on target. Great save by LXS.
Great save by LXS, and Stam at the other end. His save, I don't even know if he made it more likely to go in or not. I couldn't really tell from the angle whether or not he was about to direct it into his own net. I do feel like a player of LXS's standard and caliber, he probably should have been putting that one away, as him an absolute landing on each other. They don't get the shot away. Bram's 50, not on target either. VUB desperately trying to find a response, but it's trying to be tickled in by Bram. He gets no power behind it, and we stay at 2-1 for now.
That was the attempts for VUB. They're all so close in such different ways. And here's an open net, and Crimson won't miss those. And it'll go just over Bram's head on the respawn. 3-1 the score. But VUB, they threw everything they had at Loughborough. That's what you have to do when you're heading to the last 30 seconds of goal down.
Just had respawn, but needed half a second more in order to get back to the net. He got the correct side at least, but it still wasn't correct enough to stop that exposed defense from being punished by Crimson. Puts another one in, and maybe even another off the kickoff. That one's a sharp side flip shot early, but not able to keep it on target. Absolute is going to need to make something here and now happen. He's up, but it's taken it away to the side, and time is just not on the side of VUB right now.
Not this way. That 50, it feels like, would have had to end up in the back of the net somehow for there to be a chance at a kickoff goal potentially as well. Absolutely look for one more. Is running at a boost. Won't find the double touch. Has a teammate in the middle off the back forward one more time. Crossbar denies VUB. The woodwork has denied them a few times this game. And that'll be enough for Loughborough to see out game 2. A clear advantage to them so far in the semi-finals.
Yeah, and you can't say it's not all that deserved. But in fairness, really picking up the offense for VUB that game. It's just they weren't really as clinical. I feel like Loughborough were onto the sense that, you know, it is really difficult for the lads of Belgium to score if they just keep a solid defense, don't overcommit, don't back pass and end up passing to them and force them to be broken down. And I feel like in coming forward, VUB did leave themselves exposed sometimes. I mean, certainly at the end, understandable, right? They were just chasing that goal. But that 3-1 goal, you know, it really put the game to bed, unfortunately.
It did, but given how close some of the shots were as well for VUB, that could have looked like a very different game. It was only 9-8 in terms of shots in favour of Loughborough by the end of it. And if just one more of VUB's had ended up on target, if it hadn't led to a breakaway goal back the other end, if they hadn't been so desperate for a goal in the last 30 seconds, resulting in a huge amount of space at the back being punished against them, that could have been a very different game. That's, you know, something that it's what ifs. It doesn't matter for the overall series score, but VUB should be trying to keep that in the back of their heads as well, that they are not out of this series. They have been contesting this game. They might be down to an early deficit. It's here is the shot. There's the chance. Stamina will get a rocket into the back with a little bit of a help from VUB.
It's just more pain for the Benelux supporters in chat. Off the kickoff, Stamina. He's not even put that on target. It's Brown trying to block what was an open net, and he ends up putting it back in to his own net because of it. 5 seconds in, an own goal, being 2-0 down here in the best of 7 semi-finals of UBM. That is not how VUB wanted this to go when they woke up this morning.
No, it's not ideal. They might be further down yet, as Nando had a chance to make the pain even worse, to make the score 2-0 here in game 3. It hasn't worked. Crimson is over the ball, but won't find a pinch, won't find a touch on it at all. Will find a few touches onto Absolute, and that is absolutely the bad touches. He is getting taken out of the goal line for the time being, but it hasn't worked. And here is the chance for the 1v1. Won't work for LXS, but still a shot raining down on target just wide of the post. Ooh. And there's one that's absolutely on target. Stam, quick reflexes. Here's the follow-up from Bram, just puts it into the defender. Crimson gets credited with a save on that one, and Loughborough, they'll survive. And here's a chance for a redirect. LXS had to make the interruption happen, and he does with aplomb.
Such a difficult shot down at the other end there for Bram. He has to somehow get underneath the ball to generate any sort of height and add its difficulty to be saved to the marker, but just did not really work out for him. So difficult to actually get the power in that case as well. It just would have ended up like a chip shot, but unfortunately it was a little bit flat, and I just worry that that's the sort of half chance that VUB, if they want to get back into the series, they're going to have to start taking.
It's true. It's something we talked about a lot yesterday. It's the minor miscalculations, the small little things that do make a difference ultimately over the course of a series of Rocket League, even in game to game. And the scoreboard will ultimately reflect it. It's 1-0 now. It could so easily have been 1-1 if the shot was better. It could be 2-0 now. It will be 2-0 now. Stamina twists and dives through the air and reaches that one.
Yeah, there's a little bit of disco dancing here with the wave dash, catching out Absolute completely. I mean, sure, it's a misread from Bram, but that man is styling. Stamina staying alive all the way down through the VUB half and making it 2-0.
It's a pretty goal from Stamina, and it has made the scoreboard look all that much prettier if you are a Loughborough fan. 2-0, 3.5 minutes on the clock. VUB, they'll want to try and find an answer sooner rather than later. Is feeling almost necessary at this point. 2-0 down in the series as well. Have spent plenty of time here in the orange half, pressuring the orange net. It hasn't led to the goal for them just yet. They'll want to try and make it count, but again, a journey into that orange half has resulted in nothing for them.
Yeah, it really does feel like they're coming up empty. I mean, they're creating great chances for Loughborough if they infield like that from LXS. That was maybe a miscommunication that somehow worked out. They get the bump on the offensive end. 500 IQ play from VUB. They go down, and Bram makes it back within 1.
This is one of those classic ones where if we really did have proper coaching infrastructure in place in Rocket League, you know, your coach would be making you practice the 2v1s the whole time, like they do for soccer, like they do for rugby, whatever sport you played growing up. You know, because none of the coach wants to be the coach of a team that sees their team get into a position like that and not capitalize on it. Well played by VUB. Crimson, well played by her, not quite will lose the ball on the way through, looking for a flip reset off the kickoff, but it was Loughborough looking again to keep that lead extended, and despite how well worked that goal was by VUB, they're still on the back foot here in game 3.
See if that will stay the case, because trying to come forward, Bram again leading the line. LXS coming through. The bulldozer strategy hasn't worked out. Nando's ended up with the ball anyway. Absolute having to put a stop to it. Does so, but Crimson has picked it up in the corner. Slammed away by Bram to swag it. It comes half time here. Still 2-1. VUB, I do not feel like they can afford to be 3-0 down. They've got to drag this series back 2-1. A completely different scoreline, but Loughborough, you know they want to deny it.
They'll want that 3-0. They'll know how easy it is to close out a best of 7 at that point. but there is a little bit of work left to be done in this game before they can kind of take the foot off the gas, start worrying a little bit less about it. Crimson's going to look for an infield pass once again. Will just go herself as she takes that ball all the way into the corner and is still contesting it in front of it. There's not a lot of boost on VUB right now. A mid boost is picked up, but in front of the play was the player who did it. Won't matter. Absolute on target. Gets pinched out of the way. Look for a good defense. It's still in the danger zone, and the 50s are getting very close to threatening the goal.
And Absolute tried to catch them out of the near post. It was going to be so difficult for him to actually get around that ball enough to hit it on target with power, though. VUB very much stirring the pot right now, but unfortunately for them, Loughborough are back in numbers again. I take that back. Stamina's alone. Can he stretch for it? He can. An incredible save with 0 boost, but it doesn't matter because Absolute's pre-flip's going to put it in anyway.
Absolute. It looked very close to him just saving it himself again. Stamina did so well to reach that ball at all, and Absolute then does find the angle across base, and it is all tied up in VUB. It just took Loughborough being a little bit sloppy at the back once. They've been punished for it again.
2-2 from 2-0 down is the massive deal for VUB, who come forward again off of the kickoff. LXS control. Does he have enough boost to beat out Crimson? Yes. Keeps the control. Tries to regain, but can't get the 50 to deny Stamina. And Loughborough come forward again, trying to catch out Absolute, but he controls it on the goal line. He's running it away down the left-hand side again. Never mind.
Absolute having an absolute. He's been taken away. This is potentially a chance. Absolute having an absolutely fantastic series so far. It is carnage on the pitch, but Cam under pressure. You'll need to stay Cam under pressure. That shot, that's in. That's a great pass leading to the goal.
And Loughborough just so dynamic. This combination of Crimson and Stamina on offense is proving far too potent for the VUB defense. Too many times now. LXS just burned by Stamina, who's ready in the midfield for a wild pinch in favor of the UK University of Loughborough. They get themselves a lead here in the final minute of game 3, looking to go 3 games to the good.
They'll be feeling confident about their ability to close out. They're just going to clear their lines one more time. We did talk to Crimson yesterday after the games yesterday, and she said, you know, we are a team, we're very confident in our ability to adapt mid-series, that we feel like we're capable of doing that more than maybe some other teams. So if they find themselves 3-0 up, I like to, they'll back themselves. Here's a chance, though. It's not going to be that easy just yet. 3-3 the scoreline.
I mean, she also said UEM is coming home, and if UB continue this comeback, but I don't know about that. I mean, last at a pinch from LXS, Absolute in position again, right where it needs to be to make it our second 3-3 game of the series in the space of 3 games. This is ridiculous. I mean, is it going to be another overtime? I mean, Absolute probably has something to say about it, trying to find it towards the midfield, but the demo onto LXS. Nando's just beaten out by Bram, though, and that's a crucial challenge early up the field.
And that will be Stam jumping, Crimson even jumping over the challenge. Stam is in the background of that offense. It's been so lethal, the pairing so many times, but this time it was a miss and maybe a breakaway chance at the other end of the pitch. The 50 is okay. It'll keep this ball moving forward. Absolute has teammates in the middle, cut out by the defense for the time being. Bram underneath that one has LXS there. Will not manage to keep the ball off the ground, though. We will head to another overtime.
Can VUB actually take this one? A massive following goal coming up right next to, I mean, of course, it could be 10 minutes of overtime, so hold your breath for that block. You might be in trouble. If you do, hang a minute. Crimson nearly got the doink on the way through. Absolute no boost to really influence the play. He's going to rotate out and let LXS come through. Off the backboard with a demo. Stamina back as cover for Loughborough. That was a little bit scary, I'm afraid.
Little bit scary. For just a second, that's a big miss. Nando was terrifying us for just a brief moment there, but the ball has somehow made its way back into this blue half anyway, and LXS forced to make a touch to it. Absolute is underneath, but won't be needed as LXS finds another touch to it. Absolute beaten out. Now Bram has to get the read correct on that one, as of course it's being challenged by Stam in front of the net. Absolute down this right wing, beats out one. Crimson helps put it in the middle onto her own back wall, and this is the chance. It had to be the chance. LXS will get denied on the goal line.
Bram back to the backboard again. Loughborough really been under the cosh, but can VUB keep them there? That pass intercepted. LXS going to have to regain here from this back left boost. Stamina pre-jumping over it. He's still got 100 as LXS. He's been challenged as well by Nando, and Loughborough really aggressive, getting up in the face of the corner. That's, you know, you're playing with confidence when you're willing to challenge the opponents constantly. In there, bamboozling the final defender. That's dirty.
Oh, that's so cruel. I can't believe that's how this game has ended. Crimson steals the boost, and LXS, you can see he stops completely flat in the corner as well. A huge win for Loughborough. They will move to 3-0 so far in this semi-finals. 1 game from 4, all that they need to close it out. That's only a 25% win rate, I like that.
I mean, I'm I'm just getting over that goal. That was just felt so disrespectful, like in the sense that LXS knew what had happened. He just stopped there in person. It's like the screen went black and white and just wasted came up across it. It's just brutal from Crimson, who has been the difference 2 out of 2 overtimes this series so far, and it's 3 games to the good now. Are the Loughborough Lions. VUB, they've got to pull off the impossible.
This is one of those series where a sweep would feel so cruel as well. 2 overtimes so far, nothing to really separate the two teams in terms of, well, just the stats on the field. The only thing that is separating them, it feels like, Tylacto, is those goals. And the issue is Crimson and Stamina, they have pulled out a few big moments each over the course of the series. And when you look at it, those are the goals that ultimately have been the difference makers so far.
Well, that continue to be the case. VUB have done a great job of scoring early on in the games and getting themselves a lead to work with, but I worry that, that's not often going to be the case, certainly not for the entire length of the series. And if it wasn't enough for them when they got the lead, they still weren't able to see it out. What if they concede the first goal in this game? I'm a little bit worried, but granted, they did come back from 2-0 down, so I guess it goes both ways.
They've been able to get back into it, but I'm sure they'd be much more comfortable trying to hold the lead. They now have to win 4 in a row, and they might be down early here. LXS moving backwards has to make a touch that just carries the ball deeper into his own territory, and that's a shot on target. And that'll find a way in at the near post, and Nando, the angle was dirty.
And Nando showing up at the most crucial of times here. LXS's contact in the corner. He'd have thought it was good enough. The ball not too far out loose, but that is shootable. Fernando. Mechanical Menace is the title for a reason. Slips that in bottom corner, and talk about playing from behind. It's VUB again.
Mechanical Menace as your title. It says, oh, that's just in. Oh, it's not in, as it's a big save off the near post. What a pinch it was from, first of all, the attack, and second of all, the defense on the goal line. Big save, and that could be very, very useful for Loughborough. In the lead, won't be given up immediately. Here's another chance. VUB, absolute. He has an angle of his own.
That's a lovely finish there, getting involved again. LXS off the sidewall, 2 players backwards for Loughborough. No one challenging. The alarm bell's not raised in time. Absolute getting the equaliser.
That's a lovely goal for Absolute. And it's nice to equalize within the first minute of gameplay. Looking at the scoreboard saying, all right, we still have 4 minutes to try and make this one work for us. But VB Gaming, this could potentially be the last 4 minutes of their semi-finals. They'll still be in this tournament. They'll head to a third place match if they don't manage to win this game, and that'll be a lot more Rocket League. I'm sure you'd prefer, if you have to go there at all, not to do it off the back of a sweep.
No, certainly go to play the loser of the Dortmund-Rotterdam matchup. Is that going to slip in? Oh my goodness, it is Crimson off the roof of the car, who just had to watch and in pain spectate to the ball going in the back of the VUB net again.
Is there a world where that's a very different player. Yeah. Is there a world where LXS could have actually gotten underneath it and managed to flip it up? I don't know. Yeah. I think he was potentially completely out of boost. It would have been very, very difficult, but Crimson had the pace, and it's always the worry when you hear the car coming up behind you as well. You panic a little bit with the engine sounds in your ears.
That's the thing. I just don't know if he heard the engine or just hadn't really clocked the danger that he was in. I mean, you think of the I'm in danger meme, but that just didn't really describe that situation very well. I mean, he just sort of was trying so hard to focus and read the post bounce, which was very unfriendly to VEB, of course, I have to add. But, any quicker action might have prevented Crimson from just dunking that one in from 2 inches out.
After when you played football as a child, did you use anything to warn people that there was someone coming up behind them?
No.
We always used house in Ireland. I have no idea where that came from. Yeah, you just be on your house or just house. You just shout that at someone and they'd know there was someone behind them.
I mean, you didn't just say man on like everyone else, Bram?
No. Good. We just said house. No, I'm just saying that would have been a useful call, a house call on that one on their own goal line for LXS.
Right, well, maybe that would have worked for you, but I'm not sure there's any other people really, aside from your football team anywhere, that probably would have worked for. So that's good to know. I feel like I've learned something today, Bram. Surely that's going to be in. Indeed it is. It's another equaliser here off the corner wall. Loughborough defense, the gaps are there. The cheesy defense once again, and it's 2-2.
I worry a little bit for Loughborough. Even if they close this series out heading into a grand final with how the defense has looked, you feel that maybe it could be taken advantage of with a little bit of a crisper offense. And if they weren't scoring as much as they were, they might be in a little bit more trouble in the series. As things are, that's the second time that it has been equalized at 2-2 by VUB. Hasn't worked for them. This time, they'll get the go-ahead goal as the pass was good and the shot was better.
Just load the laser here, Bram. And LXS fires here. impossible to get back in time. Crimson, that 135 kilometers per hour. Heading into that, we were all tied up on goals and shots, but it's VUB who edge in front this time.
About, and maybe a chance for them to finally put daylight between the two teams with themselves in front as well. I'm sure that'd be feeling good, having to head potentially towards a reverse sweep. And whatever it happens, I have to say, I don't think it'll be an easy reverse sweep for VUB from this point on. But they're still in this one, and there is still a chance. And anything can happen in Rocket League, and it'll have to happen right now for VUB Gaming.
Another pop-up from Stam. Loughborough a little bit confused as to how to attack right now. It hasn't really worked out for them. They find themselves defending again. Crimson will try and just wrestle this ball forward, but Bram shutting it down. If Nando misreads, and LXS was there and ready to punish, and you can see Absolute as well. All of VUB hungry for the mistakes from Loughborough, looking to see what margins are there for them to open up far easily. And if Loughborough are making those mistakes, I don't see why not. They just need to make sure they don't make their own on the defense.
Something we once again talked about yesterday, just the level of respect that you give your opponent and how that can change throughout a series. And VUB, they're giving a little bit less respect to Loughborough now. They're saying, yeah, you are making the mistakes on defense, so we're just going to sit here and capitalize on it when you do. And LXS is not going to wait for a mistake that time. He's just going to carry the ball straight through.
And he flicks it over. Crimson, and his stamina just lets him sell himself, sends him to the shops for a pint of milk and a loaf of bread there in. And walked in by LXS for the first 2-goal lead in favor of VUB all series.
Big revenge for LXS after being faked in the exact same corner himself to end the last game in overtime. And that's a big lead, as you say as well. 2-0 less minute on the clock. See if Loughborough can do anything about it. It's a pass forward, and Crimson will be following that one with a tank full of boost. Gets past one potential. LXS still trying to shadow, and it was left for Absolute to get a banging clear away. Bram beaten out though by Nando, and LXS has to use what boost he has remaining to get up to that one. Will try and land on it as well as Crimson went flying past him. Bram finds a demo, and it's all being slowed down a little bit too much for Loughborough's taste.
I mean, a little bit of a double touch in the corner, but I don't really think Stam wanted that second touch. Keeps it in there, and therefore VUB dealing with it relatively routinely. Here's Bram admiring the ball, getting the mid boost and flicking it up high as well. He's got all the time, and now he's got all the time he ever wants. He's just respawning, and he's back at the back and not able to challenge that one because Crimson's put it on the back ball. The bounce could be dangerous. And LXS popping it up high, buying the time for Absolute to come across and miss, but it doesn't matter because that's enough time for Bram to get the block. And it may not be conventional, but it's working out, and Loughborough looking like this is not going to be a sweep.
It's looking like it won't be. One game for VUB.
Oh, no.
Well, okay, 9 seconds left on the clock, and I suppose let's hold off making any sweeping statements about the state of the series until we see what the next kickoff looks like.
And of course, we don't know. It could be a reverse sweep, so let's not rule that out either. Loughborough going to look to make the impossible happen off of kickoff. We've had some late goals, but none quite so much so as late as this during this series so far. Crimson up off the backboard with an early flip, trying to follow it up, but a challenge by Bram. He shuts that one down before any doubt raised in the matter, and down the ball will go. VUB, their first game on the board.
They'll be feeling a little bit more comfortable after finally getting one on the board, feeling more comfortable about the day as a whole, I'm sure, as well. Well played by them. A well-played match by VUB, especially to get that second goal, to put a little bit of daylight, to make it all that much harder for Loughborough, because Loughborough did come back with the late equalizer. They would have had it if there hadn't been a second goal there for VUB.
I'm curious what Bram's decal is. The decal is usually in game on his Fennec. He's got like the music bars like bouncing up and down on his bonnet. I feel like I don't know what the musical bars are called. Like, you know, when it's like the soundscope or something. I don't actually know what the word is for it. Soundscape? Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
We need
cool. Maybe that's the name of the decal. It looks pretty nice. I mean, he's blue and red. I can dig it. I mean, got to look stylish whether you're winning or losing. And thankfully for VUB, they were winning right when required there in game 4, bringing themselves back within 2, but they are certainly still on their last life.
Yeah, it'll still be a tall order from them. As we said, it was yesterday Loughborough were telling us that they do feel comfortable about their ability to adapt. There are things they'll need to adapt after that last game, and I think namely the defense will need to be tightened up a little bit. They need to make sure that they are actually getting players back when they need to, because the attack has looked good for Loughborough all series long. That's definitely not been their issue.
Yeah, I mean, I guess being limited to just the one last game is a surprise. I mean, granted, they did get the 2 late on, but, you know, let's just not count that second goal. Aside from that, the offense was kept a little bit quieter. So I'm trying to build up the hope for VUB. I'm trying to say more things are going in their favor than it seems like maybe. But, you know, I think that they definitely had deserved that game over the course of the series. It's just putting it all together in the space of one game to actually pull it off. And Loughborough, maybe a little underwhelming, helping out the matter.
Oh, they're going to, you know, potentially have to do a little bit of work themselves here, VUB. I can't imagine Loughborough will just let them walk back into this series completely uncontested, even after that one game went down. But here's a chance, and here's a redirect attempt, and it'll be a fake instead. Absolute will get credited with the goal.
Is this the start of a Loughborough throw? It will be a classic here in the semi-finals. Bram threatening the redirect. Crimson having to respect it, and it just goes all on through. No contact made. Absolute will take the credit, and it's VUB who strike first again. That is exactly what they needed.
This is kind of how it felt like some of the earlier games in the series were threatening to go VUB. They've definitely had some chances to shoot. The difference is now theirs are landing. Loughborough's are being denied. Well, when the series was as close as it was, despite the scoreboard, felt like it was always going to happen. Brandon Demo, that's a chance. It has to go on. Stam will be denied. LXS and gets the save. And here goes Nando on target. No, wide of the target. Stam going to rotate in, going to maybe try and contest this one in the air. Will beat Absolute. Just call it a pass, as Stam was always waiting to read that one.
Such a massive goal for Loughborough, who really hadn't had much of a look at net for the space of 5 minutes now. Really, it was just no clear-cut chances that VUB aside from which had given them, but that is really a gift in itself. I mean, Stam, a great challenge, so important that goes on target, because Loughborough had come up all empty. You know, they're catching VUB in transition there, and the net being open. It's such a cheap goal to give up. It nearly was 2, not for Absolute getting back off that kickoff in time.
Yeah, redemption a little bit after that one, and a fake underneath the first player that he meets in the middle of the pitch, and a shot on target then from LXS. But VUB, they won't really threaten the goal line all too much just there. I will say, based off how the first couple of games in the series went, the team that is gifting goals to the other team did win those, and it was Loughborough both times. So, you know, maybe signs that they're in a position to just be gifting them. Maybe it's just overconfidence, you know?
I mean, Absolute, is he uncontested here? I don't think he can quite get back to the ball for a second time. Stamina able to race him back here and keep it out of the orange net. Still, we stay at 1-1 there for. A little bit of a whiff is going to allow Stamina to get back to it, but I don't think he quite expected it. Got the mid boost, but not the ball. LXS is up, looking for the double down, and a cross, but just a little too across it was. And if he cross about it, just off target, we stay at 1-1.
And a big clear coming through for Loughborough there. Maybe a shot back on target, but LXS had plenty of time to get back, sit in position. And that ball's just landed on Bram's hood, and Bram has been threatening with the ball in hand, racing towards the defense. 1v1 has teammates in the middle looking to pass down onto the roof of the car. Absolute with a good 50. LXS choosing to rotate in, is still in support for Absolute. If he needs them, is going to cut back inside now. Surely not quite. The ball landed well for Nando, who is now trying to make the counter attack happen. That's a big demo.
I mean, that demo from Absolute, that little hole that he did, he punished in the defense of Loughborough. Crimson just about in position to get back and recover the possession, and a huge play to do that as well. 2 up for VUB this time. They might struggle to keep it up, but 3 go for that one for Loughborough. So a little bit of copycat here as the nerves are out in the semi-finals. High stakes and even higher nerves by the looks of things. Curious to see who will be able to strike next because of it.
Oh, Absolute wanted that boost as well to maybe make this attack a little bit easier, but taken away by a Loughborough defender should mean that this ball will get clear. Stam has Crimson in the middle. Crimson following that ball, looks for the 50, won't quite get it. And now a chance to just go for the long clear length of the pitch. If that goes over Nando's head, you feel like it's a goal, and still a chance. LXS not able to get it past target and will get demoed in this back corner. Loses the 50 to Absolute nonetheless, and Stam with a big pinch to clear.
It's a big moment for LXS. I feel like he saw the loose touch that was coming from Nando, and it was going to be shootable, it was going to be passable, but by the time he got to the ball, it felt like he still hadn't made his mind up. Ended up being a pretty half-hearted shot that Loughborough got back to and dealt with without any real major issues, and I feel like that was a major chance for VUB. They're not taking it. Nando's backflipping in front of the ball. It's not really working out for Loughborough either, and if neither team can put something together, we might be going for a third overtime.
We could potentially be heading to a third overtime, and it'll be hopefully for VUB one that they can win instead. It's been sloppy for the last 30 seconds in the middle of the pitch from both teams. Both of them had chances to maybe try and create chances, but they haven't managed to do so just yet. Here is a chance. Stamina onto the back wall. Crimson will probably be rotating back underneath this ball. It's Nando instead to take it, but the 50 is good. Crimson at the very back, low on boost, and that means a shooting chance, and that will mean a shot, and that will be a big save from Stam, who had to race the length of the pitch to make that one happen. It's still falling dangerously in front of net. This time it is a touch into the corner, still across the face of goal by Absolute. Still a defender on the line managing to clear it. LXS will bang one high. 10 seconds is all that remains on the clock. The 50 is very good by Nando. He has teammates in support in the middle. Won't manage to win the 50 against LXS. Very hard, but it was a win enough. That ball will drop to the ground. That ball will send us to another overtime.
There was some defensive heroics from Stamina at the end of regulation for Loughborough. still keeping the hope of that 4-1 win alive to get them into the grand finals of #UEM 2022. You can use it too, because maybe it's not going to be 5. Stamina back again just in time to deny Absolute an easy tap in. It's off the backboard. LXS is up. Can he put it on target? That one's over. Will he have the rebound? Crimson backwards dolphin dive, flipping it away. We stay tied up for now.
Majestic to get that ball clear, and that's what you need right now. A little bit of majesty in the proceedings. Bram across the front of that goal. LXS trying to get the 50, will not get it. That's sneaking towards the goal line. Stamina has been there so often at the last second to make these saves work for Loughborough.
Five saves. I mean, poor Nando can't get himself involved. He's down at 72 points. That's less than half of literally anyone else in the lobby. Crimson taking the time. Doesn't really have a choice of going over or underneath. The VUB defense standing tall there. Stamina involved this time as well, coming forward. Can he find Nando? Pinched out towards him, can't quite work the angle. Absolute is there, but Absolute is for now. Panic, just craziness on the defense from VUB, and yet they get away with it.
It feels like Loughborough were also glued to the ground during that play. Maybe a chance for a double touch, not quite. As both of these teams are kind of chancing their arm a little bit. They're getting away with it at both ends of the pitch, but one of them will want to finally score. That's a lot of demos coming through in the middle of the pitch. Space opened up. That's a shot. That's on target. Big save by Absolute. Is there any follow-up or not for the time being? Only 32 boost on LXS means he doesn't want to commit. Will misses the ball, bounces off the back wall. It'll come off this corner again one more time. The read is missed by Crimson, and the clear will finally come through.
Crimson, she's won 2 out of 2 of the overtimes, but she wasn't able to make the contact there. What will she manage to step up like to make the play happen? I'm not sure she will, because Bram's at the back post, but he can't quite squeeze it in. That post, it's away, and he's the last man back. Can he get back in time here? Yes, he can. He pops it up onto that backboard, recovers for a second touch as well there. That could be still dangerous for Loughborough. LXS this time with the clear down and across. Nando with the whiff. Crimson, she's on the back foot. Bram and the LXS, though, just linking up a little bit awkwardly, and it's not being put together by either team here.
Can't find that last step, that last shot. Maybe this is it. That's wide of the post, though. The follow-up by Stam not quite in. And there goes Nando. He'll just put it back into the corner. He'll let his team have time to recover, pick up boost, maybe put themselves in a scoring position again. 3 defenders in a row for VUB. One more time. The defensive line holds. It very much was a line. They are lining up in front of their net at the moment.
Absolute with a little bit of a whiff. That's a nervous one. You never want to be up high for those aerials, stretching back and barely reaching deep into an overtime as big as this. That one's off the backboard and it's open. Nando's there, but LXS gets across. He makes the save, and VUB stay in the tournament.
Somehow they'll stay alive in that one, but they still need to get back to the other end and score themselves if they want to keep it going. Here's a chance. Maybe no, there's no one there at all. A boost steal away by Bram is maybe big, as long as the goal doesn't just go in here. LXS reads that the ball was being missed, and Absolute pops one off the ceiling. Here's Crimson reading. Slow just completely takes the ball on the wheels. Well played, but will lose out to LXS on the follow-up touch. Now a chance for Nando to try and make something happen. LXS makes his car big in the middle of the pitch, though. He is pushing that ball further and further forwards. Another boost steal away by Bram in this back corner. Will this one matter instead? It doesn't look like it will for the time being, as Bram is forced to turn out and choose against committing to the play. VUB, they're just not a minute.
Nando!
Over the top, it's off the crossbar, and there's the follow-up. Stam won't make it count.
My goodness, Loughborough so close on so many occasions. It feels like a goal is brewing. A goal is coming. Absolute. He's coming off the backboard, but he's got no boost. He's stuck it in the midfield, but it's a nice pass to LXS. He comes across. A nice little link up from VUB. They get it away for now, and it's off the corner bounce. Crimson will shut down Bram's shot. Those two meeting each other so many times across the field. Absolute forcing Nando to commit. Getting the big boost. Loughborough going to struggle to make the play happen here. It's patient, though. Stamina found by Crimson. And Nando's going to be able to get this back boost as well. Similarly, never mind. He's just... Crimson has told him that she's having it, and that is just how it's going to be. And it worked out for Loughborough.
It has worked out for them, but for how much longer? I mean, it's just Loughborough ending up in their own half, picking up full tanks of boost, and then launching a counter-attack over and over again. That's red. I got half nervous for half a second for LXS. But Loughborough, they're back on this offensive. Look, here comes potentially a big clear from VUB. This time, can they make it count? Absolute is stretching to that one. It's off the back wall. Here comes LXS. He is the first to the ball. Keeps him moving forward. Bram, the next player to come in and have a go at it off the back wall. Beaten out, though, by Stamina. And that means another long clear for Loughborough. Another counter-attack for them.
LXS, maybe looking for a pass, maybe looking for an air dribble. It's 50 to cross here. We're approaching a game's worth of overtime as VUB. Can they finish it off beforehand? Absolute still in poverty mode for boost. LXS, he will slam it far more powerfully towards the backboard, and a whiff from Stamina. That could be it, but he can't quite. He flips a little bit too soon, snatches at it, and ends up skew-whiffing the ball wide of that left-hand post. Loughborough will come home and try and score it at the other end to take the series home, but no, we play on, Nualek.
5 minutes into overtime. Those are chances you maybe need to take. Bram is trying to reach for that one, was looking for a teammate to pass to, but there was no one in range. Now Bram has stolen the boost away from Absolute, and that means the team in general is in an awkward spot for VB here. LXS has bailed them out for the time being, but will run into a stand with full boost. Bram with teammates in the middle, looking to carry that one around the corner, but nothing doing as traffic in the corner is just too heavy.
Absolute playing it down towards the side. LXS will be able to keep it up in the area, but you see both Bram and Absolute committing, but it doesn't matter because Stamina is beaten by the follow-up touch. LXS swiftly towards the midfield, a nice catch off that corner wall, but it's a little too swift for his own good, and Bram will take the possession back at the back end. And lovely little touch from Absolute, gets it past Nando, but he's shut down by Crimson as well. Nice individual plays, but that's off the inside of the post. Again, Loughborough a whisker away.
Oh, it's come incredibly close so many times, but close doesn't win games. Rocket
That is
just
it.
a goal in the back of the net. There it is. Stamina finally has it.
Fives across the board here. In came 5 overtime. Could it be any other way? Stamina, the difference maker this time. And for all the effort and pride VUB put in, a great series here in the semi-finals of UEM. They will be going to the 3rd place playoff. They still have a chance at a nice chunk of that €6,000 prize pool, but I'm afraid it is Loughborough in the crucial moments. You have to say deservedly 3 overtimes out of 3. What can I say? They move on and march on to the grand finals.
They'll move to the grand finals, and the next thing to do as well, I suppose, decide who their opponents there will be. And it's going to be a choice between the team from the Netherlands, Hyman Rye, the Portsmouth Paladins Killers, or the German squad of University Esports Dortmund. It's going to be a very exciting match to decide that one. I'm looking forward to seeing how things shake out. So why don't we head straight to a quick break, and we'll be back to bring you that match directly afterwards. Welcome back to the semi-finals of the Amazon University Esports Masters for Rocket League. You know, just in case there's anyone here who's joined between series, missed the banger that we had of 5-minute overtime at the end of that one, which unfortunately does see VUB Gaming dropping into the fourth place match. Sees Loughborough Lions moving forward to that grand finals. You can see it here on our bracket up on screen. And of course, we now have to play through our second semi-final. Hyman Rye will take on University Esports Dortmund to decide who joins who in which match.
Let's not forget Dortmund were able to sweep the TUD Apes, but apologies, I think it's fair to say there's a different caliber of opponent here in Hyman Rye. Rotterdam representing Netherlands, trying to get them to the grand finals, and after beating the Portsmouth Paladins in our first game, our first series yesterday, I think Dortmund are going to have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, now it's going to be a tough ride for the Dortmund squad, as we will take a quick look at what that Dortmund squad does look like. It is the same squad as we saw yesterday. It's Trizzleton, it's System, and it is Hepi, and all three of these players capable of stepping up. Hepi, the big goal scorer for them a few times.
Yeah, certainly so often on the end of their play System, putting in so much work, though, this entire team as well. I would love to see them put up a series here, maybe even get the result. It would mean so much to them, but in terms of redemption as well, and a huge opening roster for Ozan. Can we talk about him on this Hyman Rye roster for Rotterdam? I mean, coming into the fray just a matter of a couple months ago, that combination with Kallio that he brings to the table, I mean, I feel sorry for Devon, honestly. It's tough to get involved sometimes.
It really has been tough for them to get involved, but you're right, this is an Erasmus roster that can be riding high after their victory yesterday over the Portsmouth Paladins. A very strong squad that they managed to take down, and there's nothing I want to talk about more than Ozan at the moment, because he came in as fresh blood to this roster and has been absolutely popping off, was a big part of that win alongside Kallio, alongside Devon. It's been very impressive to see, and it's things we do love to see, is rosters picking up new players, seeing that there is going to be continuity in these teams going forward potentially as well.
Yeah, and what a time to be coming into the fray as well, with the Netherlands certainly not always known for their success in European Rocket League. I mean, Rotterdam at times have been the ones to bring it. Will they be the ones to bring it again? I mean, they're the last chance and hope right here. I mean, fair play. Ozan, if he can put up a performance like we saw yesterday, I don't know if Dortmund have a chance. I don't know if anyone else has a chance. That man is putting up MVP-worthy performances, as I believe we'll be playing on Neo Tokyo for our series here in this semi-final. Looking forward to it between the Dutch of Hyman Rye and, of course, the Germans of Uni Esports Dortmund.
Let's see how this first goal ends up going. It often tells us a lot about how the series is going to play out, especially if it takes a little while to go in. If we can see these teams looking evenly matched as well. That's a shot early on. That's a goal early on from Kallio. And there you go. I think Hyman Rye are coming in to play Rocket League just like they did against Portsmouth.
Yeah, absolute speed. That angle to the top corner. He has no right scoring from there. An incredible shot from Kallio, who was clearly upset that I was saying that Ozan is the star of the show right now. Still going by the name of Apio, from what I can see. So that certainly lets us know how he's going to be playing this series.
Yeah, full mech monkey, just head for the ball, head empty, hit it at insane angles, and that was an insane angle to hit that first one at an early goal. Will settle the nerves if there were any for Hyman Rye here in match 1 of this semi-final. Devon is the last player back, and we'll get it clear, but it's only gone as far as Hepi, who is going to try and get this ball a little bit further away. Not the case for the time being. Defense is good, but wasn't particularly stretched by that period of attack by the Dortmund squad.
It's in off the sidewall. Devon, he's comfortable trying to find Ozan, and Dortmund are on the back foot early here, as we probably would have expected, but let's see how they can sponge out the pressure and turn it into a play of their own, get themselves comfortable, get themselves into a rhythm. It's Trizzleton trying to be the conductor and start it from the back, but doesn't really work out. System just beating out, and Reppy even more so. Devon really starting to show up early, and I feel like if Devon is starting to control the matchup single-handedly as well, single-handedly is a bit of an overstatement, but seriously, if he is very much involved, then this can become a complete hydra of a Rotterdam side.
It'll be absolutely terrifying when you have all three of these players involved, but here's a chance for them again. It's across the face, and Ozan got that one a lot deeper than it potentially looked like he was going to get it, but there was no one there to pick it up from his squad. Kallio away to Devon in the corner. Will get this ball a little bit further, but it's being kept in the danger zone by the Dortmund team. It hasn't really led to a huge amount. The pass is just straight across the face of goal, and it's back into the other corner, and it's kept in the corners, and you're never really going to score from the corners, barring a bit of a defensive misstep from your opponents.
Let's not forget what's riding on this matchup. I mean, winner of UEM this year, 3,000 euros. That's 1,000 each. So much. Think about what you can do as a student. Think about all the snacks. Like, you can upgrade from just the cheapest bread in the supermarket. I mean, that's how my student experience was. It would have been fantastic. I mean, for years as well, you could be doing that. And of course, Loughborough have done that to an extent. At minimum second place, you know, that even second, getting 1,800. And that's the minimum that's on the line in this semi-final as well.
Think of all the pasta you could buy. That's where my mind goes straight to. It's just so many bags that'll keep you in pasta for years. And potentially rice, I guess. Depends on your carbohydrate of choice. But, you know, they're all students. Everyone has one. There's still a long way to go in this series before anyone can even think about trying to lock in that 3,000 euro. But here in game one, with a 1-0 lead for the Netherlands team, they'll be feeling a little bit better than their opponents about it. Because Dortmund, again, I'll say it, they haven't looked all that threatening here in the game. Despite the fact it's only a 1-0 lead off an insane goal from Kallio early, Dortmund haven't looked particularly close to equalizing.
Yeah, they've registered just the one shot. Of course, thankfully for UEM, the prize pool will be paid out financially and not in the form of rice or pasta, although, you know, it is an interesting question to be asked. I mean, do jump from Dortmund there, and it just feels like so often they're clearing, but without a target to really interfere. I mean, they're clearing to their midfield, and it's uncontested. If Kallio had a better shot, which, you know, you'd probably expect from him, that should really have just been 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, especially given the first shot Kallio registered this game. Well, here's just a chance. That has to just go in, surely. Big save. Devon will manage to get that one clear, but Repi is up for a second chance. But it's a bit of a team bump on the goal line. Maybe a third chance. No, none of the chances will be made to stick, as Dortmund, that was really their opening to try and muscle their way back in.
And here they come, clearing it towards the midfield. But Ozan, he's up, looking for the double, but he's not got enough boost in the tank. A whiff from system. Repi will come through, back towards the backboard as well. Trizotan's up. That's a fantastic read and a high clearance away. A big one. I feel like if you're missing those crucial clears early on in the series, it can really rattle your confidence for the remainder of it. Is that going to go all the way in? Damn right it is, Repi. That is an equalizer.
That's for sure an equalizer. That's what the scoreboard says, and I have very little else to say about it. It's a little bit unfortunate for the Rotterdam side, but at the same time, a little bit of luck, well, that'll turn the tide of a Rocket League series, no doubt. And when you had chances to put yourself ahead as well, when you could have had a 2-goal lead, a 3-goal lead potentially, given some of the chance we've had, Rotterdam don't have anyone to blame except themselves. Maybe a chance now to go straight back ahead. System is so cool on the line, so calm with that ball. Could have panicked, sent it straight into a player who was sitting there waiting to take a shot, but just lets it get clear instead.
Yeah, really smart. So often I feel like when you're on defense, the best feeling or looking touch is often very much not the best. And sometimes just jumping softly behind the ball and letting it sit right next to your goal line because you know you're in control of it. That was the play in the moment, and System making it correctly. He's back on the ball here, trying to get a second touch, but Devon, with the flip in hand, is able to force it through. And Rotterdam, again, looking to try and find a winner.
A little bit scary. There's a lot of space in front of that Dortmund net a few times, but it hasn't been capitalized on just yet, and they're looking to capitalize themselves to push this ball forward and through. But that's a big touch by Kallio, leaves a huge amount of space one more time. It's not taken though. There's no one moving forward for Rotterdam to try and take advantage of how much space they've been given. Maybe one last chance here in regulation. I think this ball doesn't even leave the ground. It will leave the ground. System had the choice there to just let that one keep on rolling. It looks like ultimately it won't matter, as we will head to an overtime in game one.
I mean, this is fantastic. I mean, 4 of the 6 games we've had so far here in the latter half of playoffs have been overtimes, and Repi nearly winning it there in the blink of an eye right off the start of it. Dortmund, this would be fantastic for them if they could turn a deficit from equalizing and winning the game one in overtime as well. It'd be a huge shift from what we saw in the opening 2-3 minutes of this game, which was really quite dominant from Rotterdam, and you wouldn't know it right now. Dortmund starting to, and you can see the confidence coming out of them.
They're looking a lot more confident than they were early in the game. And the fact, again, that Rotterdam didn't make it count, didn't make it work for them when they were all over their opposition, could come back to bite them. But here's a chance for Dortmund to make it bite right now. They're on the goal. They won't get a shot really registered too much on target.
Yeah,
and they'll be denied another chance.
Oh, I mean, I feel like this shot is just like they're a shot for the sake of pressure, you know, and they're just kind of hoping that Rotterdam get a loose clearance. I mean, one like that, a little window opened up, but Devon making the save for now. Dortmund have really moved upfield, but they need to make sure they don't leave themselves exposed behind in doing so.
That's true. Just ask the questions of your opposition. See if they do have a defender back. And if they, I mean, they can't miss a ball and give up an embarrassing goal if the shot isn't on target in the first place. That's what I always say. And it works in low champ, so I see no reason it wouldn't work here.
Yeah, I mean, in principle, it's hard to disagree with. I mean, we'll have to see what the reality turns out to be when they try and implement it. Ozan, not, as razor sharp as he looked yesterday so far today, from what we've seen. He was a little bit of a misread off the backboard there. You feel like if he was on fire as much so, he'd have been happy to get like that first overtime winner. But we're still without one here, heading for 2 minutes of it on Neo Tokyo. Trizutan starting from the back of the corner. He got the corner boost, but Kaleo patient with the challenge. Rotterdam trying to set up for a hold here.
It is the issue sometimes with waiting to pick up the boost. It gives you more options to work with as you move out, but it gives your opponents more time to read which direction you're taking the ball and just completely shut down your clear. That's what's happened. Dortmund still have managed to get the clear to work for them nonetheless, but it'll just be cleared straight back towards them as well. A big backboard and a good redirect forward again. It is looking threatening right now for Rotterdam. They are looking like they might try and actually make one work as Ozan goes flying in, takes Repi out of the play, but his team had just left the ball behind in the corner.
System from the ceiling delays his flip, but that can only teeth really the attempt. Kaleo clearing it away to the side. And Dortmund yet to really get that chance and force that chance that Rotterdam have been unable to deal with. Will they be able to get one on the counter? When they get that one chance, will they take it? Repi, he's going to deny them that in the case. I mean, Ozan sends it back into the mixer, but the system is there as well. Dortmund, very flexible defense this overtime so far, and it's been serving them well.
Defense look very strong, and that's a big bump, and Devon will dodge out on the second bump attempt. That could have been the goal, and it would have been set up entirely by system playmaker for this team so often. Plays back at the other end of the pitch, though, and now it'll be defense that's required from Dortmund as Devon tries to carry it over the top. Good defense from system. Read that incredibly well.
What? He's just pre-jump double-touched it off the Rotterdam defenders. Of course, still Rotterdam come forward anyway. They've picked it up, third man Dortmund. Maybe a little too slow to move out. Are we going to have a beautiful rule 1/2? I mean, who broke that? I think it might have been.
I think Drizzleton.
Oh. No, okay. I really don't know who broke.
Yeah, we both looked at the same thing and came to very different conclusions. Here's the chance. There's a shot. Won't be put in the back of the net. We'll have to get the action replay on that one to see figure out who broke the head-to-head, whatever you want to call it. There is still a chance, though. I mean, it has led to kind of pressure here for Dortmund as they were the team that got to the other end of the pitch, picked up boost first, but that's a big miss. Ozan in the middle of the pitch will get it over a couple of defenders. Still hasn't led to anything. We're still in overtime. How are we getting two back-to-back long overtimes, Stylacto?
I mean, I'm just very, very happy that we don't know who broke the rule 1, because that way we don't know who's going to win by default. System is falling decoratively. You notice that you just gave up happily and just said, I'm just going to keep my 40 boost. And probably the smart move is Trizutan comes in with the poke towards the backboard. Could have been a pass, but no, System did not bite.
Passes infield have been there. That's a pass infield again. An attempt at a bump. It's a classic now. That's a redirect good towards net. Repi with the double touch attempt. Won't find the angle. Won't find the boost in the tank necessary to get to that ball. But they have looked more threatening. Dortmund definitely have been the team with better chances here in overtime. The issue is the quality of your chances and the quantity doesn't matter. It's just the final one that counts. And Rotterdam, they can pull something from nowhere. Kaleo's done it once already this game.
They absolutely can. But talking about from nothing, and let me remind you that Dortmund are in this position mainly thanks to a random pinching clear that went crossfield into the top corner, and yet still they find themselves very much in this overtime despite a couple scares on defense here. And with 2 players taken out of this game, Ozan might be uncontested. That's going to be open. The finish isn't there because Trizutan, a great save, avoiding the own goal, popping it off target. Maybe another chance. No, Rotterdam shut out again. System landing next to the ball. Oh my goodness, it's flicked away out of the goal mouth, and somehow Dortmund hold on.
How has it not gone in? I don't understand. And now it's an own goal. It's an own goal. That's it. No, it's not. It's off the crossbar and out. Now the follow-up is just over the crossbar again. One more time. The 50 won't make it over the goal line. Repi with one more chance. Gets around one. Won't as Kaleo gets the car in the way of the shot. I don't understand how the ball has not ended up in one of those 2 nets. Trizutan kicked all that off with an insane save. He had one touch he could have made, and he made it flawlessly.
It's down off the ceiling again. It's dangerous. Big clear from Trizutan this time as well. Again, this one's high. Looking for Ozan's shot, but Trizutan blocks it. Again, a wall on the defense. He is down from Devon. We talk about not a wall. Kaleo nearly own goaling at the end of that sequence as well. The counter-attack down the other end. And the worst part is he had no more boost in the tank, and he nearly ended up double touching it in off the crossbar down bounds.
Would have been so fun. What an end we would have seen to this overtime. We're already nearly at the 6-minute mark. Looks like whatever happens, we're going to be beating our record from the previous series for longest overtime. And these semi-finals, they're certainly delivering so far. That ball is going to be in the danger area, but Repi is just going to watch it and wait as the defense tries to carry it clear. Good 50 by Devon to keep that one moving forward for the time being. And it will continue on in the middle of the pitch here. Rotterdam will look for another attempt at their own. They'll be feeling like they could have scored off one of those previous plays, but hey, so will Dortmund and Trizzleton. He'll look to set one up here. He's beaten a couple of defenders out. Has a teammate in the middle across the face of net, but a good save for the first time of asking. The second touch from Dortmund isn't there, but it's straight to a defender, and it's Trizzleton in the middle of the pitch, popping it high to a teammate. It'll come off the ceiling. Pepe off the back wall. Won't find the angle. That was dangerous off the triple tap.
Nice little team plays. I mean, Dortmund are so patient in the way they come forward. I feel like almost they could be a little bit more direct sometimes, but it's so nice to watch regardless, even if it doesn't quite come off. And huge props for Dortmund, making one hell of an overtime here no matter what. And credit to them as well in doing so. I mean, maybe we were a little bit worried about them, certainly with the fact that Portsmouth were the ones who fell to Rotterdam yesterday. But Dortmund, a team that often puts so much pressure on themselves, probably a little bit elated, a little bit without that in terms of coming in as an underdog into this semi-finals. And they're not going to let, I mean, they're looking like anything but right now. They are so in this. And with the ground pinch, nearly finding it on 7 minutes of overtime, but still the Rotterdam defense holds again.
No, of course it does. The Rotterdam defense won't fall just yet, as here goes System. Maybe he's the player to break the deadlock finally. Kallio in the back will get a good touchdown, and that leaves Devin with a lot of space to work with, but maybe too much space to work with, as he didn't see System coming from behind and tried to play into that space. That's good pass into the middle of the pitch, but Pepe was always watching that one over his shoulder, gets it and kind of muscles the opponents out of the way. That's a long clear. Ozan is back and gets a good touch to save it. It feels like it'd be a shame if the overtime ended with a goal going into that length of a goal at this point.
Kallio is going to get it past, though. How quickly can he get this towards the midfield? Trizzleton trying to scramble back. Oh, the own goal! Oh, no! You've cursed it. And just like Remy said in chat, I mean, Dortmund, no stranger to long overtimes, but the problem is they don't often win them.
Oh, it's true. They don't often end it with an own goal of their own either, though, as that is brutal. It's only game one of the series. We played 13 minutes of Rocket League, and it ends with an own goal for Dortmund. And now somehow they have to scrape themselves up off the floor and come back into this series.
I mean, it's not in the way you'd expected him to win the overtime, but Kallio, he was the man in that game one. And we should talk about the performance across that game one, because it was a marathon. It was nearly 3 games worth. It was fantastic. And Kallio, 8 saves. Both the goals by technicality for Rotterdam. 1,200 points, you know, well over it. And the next highest in the lobby, not that I want to focus too much on score again, but it was 700 from Ozan. Like, Kallio was on a different level on that field. And it might not have been apparent and obvious for all of the overtime, but when it mattered most, it certainly was.
Yeah, and I mean, you can say it was technicality on the second goal, but it's because Kallio was the player who really got the ball into the most threatening position it had been in for a while. And we said it, sometimes you just have to force your opponents to trip over themselves, and they can't do that unless you are pressuring them, unless you are putting them in situations where it can happen. So credit to Kallio for that, even if ultimately it is a little bit of an unfortunate end. With that said, Dortmund will be feeling they could have won that game. They'll come into game 2, hopefully with their heads still held high, looking to maybe find an equalizer, looking to tie things up at 1-1 after game 2 in the series.
And that is the thing. How do Dortmund respond here? As Ozan looking for the fake fishing for the bite from Repi, but he holds it patiently on the defense. Not that it's going to matter, because Kallio comes slamming in. It ricochets off the inside of the post, and once again, Rotterdam striking first early.
Kallio scores 3 goals across the series. That's a hat-trick so far across 2 games, and is the only player to score for this Hyman Rise squad so far. And I think in some ways that has to be almost scarier than anything else for Dortmund. Kallio on form, shooting incredibly well, and there's still room for both of his teammates to pick up their shooting, to start scoring more goals as well. That has to be a worry.
That's just the thing for Dortmund. You feel like, do they come into this game 2 off of that game 1 overtime happy that they, you know, brought it so close and that they had such a great game, or are they deflated, heartbroken even on the fact that they could so easily on different occasions have won that overtime? And Rotterdam, and be very much happy to take this one away from it. They're not just one up in this game, but in the series as well because of it. Still plenty of time for Dortmund to try and come back, but I feel like that sort of pinch across field in the top corner probably isn't going to wait. It's not going to be the way they have to do it.
It's hopefully not, but we'll see. I guess we'll have to wait and see how this one does end up playing out. It's still aggressive from Dortmund, but again, the aggression hasn't paid any dividends for the time being. They're not managing to get those shots that they want on target. They're not managing to really stretch and test the defense in the same way as they need to, because at the moment, Rotterdam, they're just looking a bit too comfortable on the defense. Kallio's just a little bit too safe and has gotten too many saves for the Dortmund liking.
Dan off the sideboard again. Trizzleton is up. rhyming the combination, but on different teams, of course. Ozan is up. Can't quite finish it. System. How? How do you save that with Calio grabbing onto him as well? How?
It's miraculous. I think there's something going on with the cars in this game. They're heavier than usual. It's the 50s on the goal line are incredible. So you prevent a 50 on the goal line is what you do. You just put it back corner and you make sure there's never going to be a car between you and the goal.
And that is Nualaic proclaiming heavy car bug, ladies and gentlemen. There's 2 on the backboard trying to jump down. I mean, smart from Calio. He realized the situation on the defense, experienced under those shooting conditions, just plays it low. They could never get back down in time. He gets his second brace of the series, and we're only 2 games in. 4 goals he's got across the 2 of them. Once again, continuing to be the difference maker.
I mean, who do we think is actually the next player from Rotterdam to score? Is there another player from Rotterdam to even score in this series, or do they just do it all off the back of Calio doing it? Here's maybe a chance to do one. Nope, it still won't be. Is there someone else on this Rotterdam squad who can manage to score this series?
I mean, I was highlighting Ozan before the series. I hope he can get himself on the score sheet. But if he doesn't need to, then so be it. Maybe it'll be Devon, and it won't be because it's safe from Trizardan off the post. Dortmund, I don't know. This is looking very scary for them right now. It's been a long time since they had possession in the blue half. It will bounce towards the midfield here, but you see Reppy a little bit confused, and he's beaten out by Ozan, and back into the defense they go again. Rotterdam looking much more comfortable.
Just driving a few little circles in the middle of the pitch was Reppy. I'm sure it was very relaxing. And sometimes you need to relax in the middle of a game like this. 2 minutes left, though, and you need to score a goal. That's not a huge amount of time left on the clock for Dortmund to find their way back into this game 2 of the series. They're on their own back post one more time. Trizardan outbump System, who gets the boost after all. I think maybe even trying to leave it to Trizardan. It's not ideal to see confusion, misplays like that in your own back corner when the other team aren't even close to you.
Calio yet to get his hat-trick, though. He'll be looking for it. And as much as his teammates will be looking for, can we actually score? Can we have goals? No, goals at home. And he just shows them that actually it's Calio scoring, and they're only allowed to get assists. Trizardan 50'd out in the corner. Dortmund been very, very, very much so kept quiet on the offense. Do you want to guess how many shots they've had this game, Noah? Go on, give me a guess.
I would guess 2.
You're wrong. It's 1.
That is brutal. That is a few shots, especially for a team that was shooting well in the last game. You know, in the overtime, they really came back into it. They were making the defense work for those saves. Calio had to have 8 alone, mostly in the overtime. But yeah, no, here we are with 2 shots, I get, or 1 shot in game 2.
Oh, Ozan towards the near post, but that one's not going to come off. And the important thing is that if Dortmund can just get the one now, they could easily find themselves with a fantastic comeback. The link up towards Trizardan, the shot, even if it was on target, it was going to be blocked. System will pick it up in the corner, but an early flip away. Calio will walk it past him. Reppy, the challenge here on the midline. Little clean wall dashes from System, or as you called and coined, the wobblies, I believe, which is, it's still yet to be implemented at an official level.
Yeah, it's not caught on just yet, but I mean, that's fair enough. It only got coined yesterday. That's a good shot on target. That'll count as a second one there, you'd imagine, for Dortmund. But with 15 seconds left on the clock, that's a little bit late to be finding your second shot, especially when you have the 0% conversion rate. That's on as well. Not going to result in the goal. Devon climbing up to try and find that one. System missing underneath that ball as well. The clock will tick down. No chance of an overtime here. Maybe a goal. Not quite. It'll be denied by Ozan on the line as well. And Hyman Rye, they'll take 2 on the bounce. They're looking strong against Dortmund.
Yeah, and it's a consistent performance from them as well. Feels reproducible. It feels like they could even do even better potentially. And if they peak towards the end of this series, headed for the grand finals, you'd be worried for Loughborough having to go up against them. But strong performance again. It felt like that entire game was like the first 3 minutes of game 1. It just stayed that dominant favor of the Dutchman there, taking control of the game, all of the field. And main thing in game 1 that changed it was that fantastic pinch from Reppy cross field. It was still relatively against the run of the play, but given that foothold in the game, Dortmund were able to really build from there. So I'm really assured that the important thing being, of course, if they maybe get a first goal, but even if they are able to tie up any of the games, we know they're going to make more than a game of it from that point.
While it's true that Dortmund were very close in game 1, it was a very long overtime. They were holding the game tense. They were nearly managing to score. The fact of the matter is that so far Dortmund's only goal is that long-range pinch that had more than an element of luck to it as well. They're yet to show us in the series that they have the answers, that they have the ability to crack open the Rotterdam defense by themselves without relying on a mistake to happen as well. It's something that now, as we head into game 3, they're kind of going to have to show they have in the back pocket, because otherwise they're down to match point. We've seen multiple times already in these playoffs how hard a reverse sweep is in a best of 7. Not a situation that Dortmund want to be in.
Yeah, and not even a situation that's been brought to game 7 from that point. I mean, from 3-1 down was as good as we got for Loughborough against Dusseldorf, but that is the biggest comeback we've seen so far these playoffs. Dortmund, like you say, cannot, afford to be spectators to their own demise here. They are going to have to come forward and crack the Dutch defense themselves. It's a 0-0 reset, but both games so far, it's been an early goal, and that one, oh no, not again.
It's happened again. It's twice in the series. It's an own goal. This time it's a little bit fancier. There's some fireworks in the background as Kallio takes out the defender on the wall. And Trizeltan was expecting very much to be a spectator to that play, to whatever ended up happening, and finds himself the star of the show, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm not sure you'd say star is the right word there, but certainly featuring against his will. Maybe he responds quickly. Not going to be the case. It's another early goal for Rotterdam. The Dortmund pain continues. But on the bright side, it wasn't Kallio. He was heavily involved getting the demo. He might get a second here. But Devon is the one joining the scorers club.
Incredible. Now Ozan will just be feeling left out in the cold, the little matchstick boy from Rotterdam, trying to find a way onto the scoreboard alongside his teammates. Kallio still yet to get one in this series. Devon might get a second, will come so close to it, but the angle was a cross-face of goal and hasn't resulted in a ball in the back of the net for now.
Here comes Kallio over to the right-hand side, looking for the pinch around the corner. Dortmund, no one willing to challenge him. They want that 3-man unit on the defense, and strong it's proven, but doesn't matter if you're forced to keep the numbers back and can't come forward and therefore equalize. And maybe they're fishing for that pinch across field, but Rotterdam didn't make that exposure or mistake in game 2, and it ended up being a relatively comfortable one in their favor.
Felt okay the entire way through, it felt like, and right now they're feeling pretty comfortable again. It feels like they're spending a lot of time in front of the orange net. They're not necessarily being forced to respond to what Dortmund are doing. It really is Rotterdam beating the drum and forcing the marching pace in game 3 so far as well. And in a series where you're already down 2-0, it's a very uncomfortable spot to be for Dortmund. Here's a chance again. Kallio off the back wall. Teammates in the middle, just bang in the middle. Ozan will get onto the scoreboard, but he does need Kallio's assistance to do it.
Yeah, 100% goal participation for this man here. Double off the backboard. Trizeltan a little bit indecisive on whether he was committing. System therefore lagging behind. It's so difficult when you're waiting and not sure if your teammate's going to go. He got a bit left hung out to dry there, I should say. It's 2-0 again for Rotterdam. And talking about beating the drum, they're beating Dortmund right now. This is not pretty for Dortmund. They're just putting up a strong defensive showing, but there is no offensive showing to speak of this game. Ozan, he's going to get his second, and Kallio the provider again.
And the issue with that, when you're putting up a strong defensive showing and not a particularly strong offensive showing, is that, well, if the defense starts to falter, things suddenly start to look very, very dire indeed. It is now 3-0 to Rotterdam, reaching heights hitherto unseen in this series in game 3 as they have a 3-goal lead. In Dortmund, well, that's across the halfway line, but it was off a kickoff, and they really aren't spending much time there at all.
Devon, patient, faking out system. Feels like the confidence is just draining out of this Dortmund side ever since that own goal to decide game 1. Such a sour note to begin on, and you wonder if the tune is really ever going to leave their heads. It's 4-0 before halftime. This one, Ozan himself for the hat-trick.
It will be a very quick hat-trick for Ozan, for a player who couldn't get onto the score in games 1 or 2. He's helped a little bit there by Trizeltan, but the ball was on target, and you always have to make the effort to dive for that ball, potentially get it over the crossbar. 1 goal for Dortmund. That's all I'm asking for. That's all we need to at least know that there's signs of life in this series. This might be it, but no, a defender will be back in time, and it's just going to rattle away a long clear off the play.
I mean, we have had the 1 goal for Dortmund. It was just a bit strange, you know.
One goal
we count
since,
it? Of course. I mean, aside from that, it would have been a shutout so far, and that is a statement from Rotterdam, who are performing fantastically both yesterday and today, and in different ways as well. You know, Ozan was really leading the show this time. It's Kallio today. Maybe Devon, you know, is going to be the one to show up in the grand finals. I take it a series each. If Devon, you know, brings Rotterdam to the finals and ends up putting an MVP performance, then I would have no complaints.
Yeah, it's Devon is going to show up tomorrow. Unfortunately, they have no matches scheduled, but you know, that's his day to shine. It's going to be great. Stick around and ranked for that one.
That's probably going to be the case, honestly. I mean, it depends whether he likes playing ranked on a Monday after being up early here on the Sunday. I would say they're going to have quite good memories of it. So far, things have gone absolutely to plan, maybe even more so for Rotterdam, who are running a 4-0 riot, nearly 5, if not for Trizzeltan scrambling back on the goal line. Dortmund playing defense simulator. They're getting a lot of training, but it does look like that attack versus defense training you would do with your Sunday League team.
And I think what's very, very scary about this Erasmus squad right now is they will manage to find 5, is that I would honestly make the argument that I don't think they're playing Rocket League as well as they were against Portsmouth yesterday, but they are still looking incredible. And that's the mark of a genuinely scary team, when you can look at them when they're up 3 games in a series, because this is inevitably 3 games in this series, and say, yeah, but like, they're better than this, I swear.
I mean, Trizzeltan, poor guy on the defense on that goal. Like, where can he even go? Trying to clear it. 2 players dunking him from point-blank range. Just nowhere he could have put that ball to keep it away from the Dortmund net. Turned around in the midfield again. If Kallio could have made contact and it was on target, who knows if we'd have had 6. Ozan, he's just taking control, playing the fiddle, and unfortunately Dortmund have been the ones being played around with in this Game 3 here. Still on Neo Tokyo in the UEM playoffs, the semi-finals here. Dortmund have got so much work to do. We know they can do it, but it's just been a shadow ever since that game went overtime.
It really broke the spirit, and I don't know if it would have broken the spirit as hard for Rotterdam. That's a good save. It'll be pushed over the crossbar, but maybe a follow-up. Nope, just another good clear. I think maybe for the sake of the series and as neutral viewers, we really needed Dortmund to win that overtime, because I would have trusted maybe Rotterdam to bounce back a little bit more than this after that.
Yeah, I mean, poor Rappi. I mean, he was the provider for that fantastic goal to equalize for Dortmund in Game 1, but he's come up completely empty in this game. He just hasn't felt like he's on the field, and usually with such a strong performance, here's a shot, but it's going to be saved anyway from Ozan. Just nothing going his way, and so often the talisman for this Dortmund side, when he goes absent, things, you know, they look rough, and it's just really shame if you're in Trizzeltan's or System's shoes and you're trying to rely on him to provide something and it's just coming up empty time and time again. It's such a difficult situation to play both individually and as a team, and with 5-0 tanking them on the chin, I mean, I think the heads are down right now and they're down 3-0 in this best of 7.
What a brutal way to head into a potentially tournament-defining match as well. To head into this Game 4 where you do have to fight to try and kick off a reverse sweep, and you've just lost 5-0. You've had a couple of extra own goals to help you along the way there as well. Everything is looking bad, and I think the worst part for me, the insult to injury, the little sting in the tail at the end of that game, was when Dortmund finally managed to actually look a little bit aggressive and to put a shot on target. The defense was impeccable from Rotterdam. They were on their goal line. The saves were good. It looked like there was no way through, and that's in the back of your head. You're saying, right, going into the next game, we need to obviously be more aggressive, we need to not be conceding, but you're just thinking, if we get up there, are we still capable of scoring?
And so often teams in that situation, and often teams like Rotterdam, will just be like, yeah, I mean, we don't really care, we're 5-0 up, we're just having some fun with it. But no, they were very much cold-hearted killer mentality right there. They weren't letting Dortmund even get an inch. Oh, looking back into this series, as they're going to have to force that look themselves in Game 4. Of course, the copium is that should they lose this series, they will have that 3rd place match up next against VUB for €1,200 here at UEM, but they won't want that 3rd place matchup, no. They want to get to the grand finals, and a story the likes of a reverse sweep following those opening 3 games is one that is scarcely possible to believe.
All right, well, Rotterdam are going for fake kickoffs here in Game 4 already, so I think it's going to be a rough ride here for Dortmund. Confidence is sky high at the moment for Rotterdam. Maybe a little bit of a... That would have been a way to burst their bubble. Nice early goal for Dortmund. Could still be, as that's a bit of a miss by Devon in the back wall, but it's carried out by Kallio. He just slows down the play. Team is given time to go and pick up some pads as they'll just settle back into this game. Into open play. They'll look for an early goal. No. All right, shut it down, boys. That's... Oh, no.
Look away. Hide your children's eyes. My goodness. Trizzeltan, he's just been done. That is painful. I wanted to cover my eyes for the replay watching that. I mean, and Kallio's even said sorry in the chat. He's apologizing on Ozan's behalf. He's going to have another situation here on his hands, trying to walk it underneath again. Can't quite bully it in, but Kallio can. Talk about an early goal for Rotterdam. How about 2 again?
This is the cyberbullying I've heard so much about.
Yes.
That ball on the goal line will just force its way through the line. And I don't know what's going on in UEM, but every single player just seems desperate to get a clip where they fake someone. And it has worked more often than not. And it's things you love to see. They're a lot of fun to watch. Apart from, you know, when you're heartbroken because, oh no, it's so painful.
And we are bystanders to this event right here. I feel bad. I feel dirty. I feel like part. I feel complicit in this Rotterdam bullying. It's 2-0 in game 4. And based off what we've seen the previous 2 games, you would think there's no hope for Dortmund. But there's 4 minutes left. There has to be, surely. But look at this. They're trying to build off the defense, and they're just flailing the ball, the possession, back to a Rotterdam side who...
Oh, my.
Exhibit A. I need say no more.
You can take the foot off the gas like a little bit, okay? You've managed to get up to speed here in game 4. You don't need to keep accelerating past the speed limit, Calio. You're up to about 200 miles an hour at this point, and that was wild. It's wild here in this game.
I mean, I'm going to take a little bit of a mantle from Wii Sports here. Do you remember playing Wii Sports Baseball?
Of course.
Sometimes there was the mercy rule if you were beating the AI. Too bad.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? I mean, we can check here. Dortmund might want to tap at. I mean, this is maybe it's a bit disrespectful, but poor Dortmund, they don't deserve this. I mean, Rotterdam, you said they weren't playing as well as they were against Portsmouth, and at times I agreed, but this game has been a complete execution, perfection. I mean, the goals as well that have come because of it, they just look undeniable right now.
I would like to, that's a chance. That's in. The system will turn it into an open net, but it's only open by virtue of a very nice pass in the middle of the pitch. Game 4, 3-1. Game 5, not off the cards.
Yeah, and that is the second goal of the series for Dortmund. This one not an equalising one, but it is system tapping it in under pressure, and an important shot as well. That one would have been a disaster had it have been missed. Devon just caught out with the early challenge and off kickoff nearly 2. I feel like that might have had to have been it though. Reppy just couldn't quite get around the ball, and we'll stay just a 2-goal difference.
Having it down to 1 goal with 3 minutes left on the clock would have felt so important. Maybe a chance here for Trizeltan to do something, but just bails out of the play due to a lack of boost. And now Calio trying to get out. Dortmund do look to have kind of come a little bit back alive. There's a little bit more self-belief circulating in the team. It looks like now they're actually challenging for balls at the halfway line. They're picking up boost at the halfway line as well. And Trizeltan has teammates in the middle and has a huge tank boost. Will get it over another defender, but the next defender is waiting in line. That's a big clear by Devon.
Nice from Dortmund, like you're saying, starting to get confident in the midfield, but for how long that save? My goodness, Calio denied by Reppy from close range. System can't quite fake it around the last defender, but will still have possession, trying to run it into the midfield, but Calio is there, back in position, and the Rotterdam defense being tested again, but the alarm bells went off with their second goal conceded, and suddenly they're back in business.
No touches, only fakes in the middle of the pitch. It nearly came off. It didn't quite, but it was so close to working there, and that would have gotten you back in the game. Dortmund, though, for as close as they've looked here in this kind of last minute or so, for as good as they have started to look, they're still down by 2 goals, and they're still under a little bit of pressure themselves. The offense from Rotterdam is there. There's a third player rotating in, and that will be a 4th goal, and that feels like a nail in the coffin. It's a shutdown of the comeback here that Dortmund were trying to mount.
Talk about shutdown. Devon, he's only poked that ball off the sideball, and suddenly his headbutt of a bump in midair. I have no idea how he got that much power on it and just clearing out the goal because of it. A fantastic play that I do not know if it was intentional or not, but regardless, like you say, nail in the coffin is probably a way to put it. Rotterdam, surely at this point, booking their place in the grand finals in a sweeping fashion to play against their fellow Group D team of course, in the Loughborough Lions. It'll be a Dutch-British final here at UEM 2022. Of course, 3rd place matchup looking like it'll be Dortmund against VUB. We've got 90 seconds to play, and Dortmund are having to deliver us a miracle. And frankly, I can describe this as many things, as many words I could use to describe this play, Nualaic. But miracle is not one of them.
Parting of the Orange Sea just there. The defense just splits to let it through. I mean, that's close to a miracle, right?
I don't know if it would feed the 10,000, though, honestly. Yeah. The loaves and the fishes. I'm feeling a little bit empty-stomached after that one. That did not. This series has probably not really satisfied my appetite here for a great Dortmund showing. I feel like they deserved better, but Rotterdam have just been better than anyone by the looks of it.
And I'm excited now for the rematch in that grand final. There'll be another goal for Dortmund, but 3 still in a minute, feeling like a bit too much of a tall order.
Maybe.
I'm excited for the Netherlands versus UK rematch. Okay, listen, we'll humor them maybe, all right? Look, we'll wait and see. There's been a couple of kickoff goals that have come close to going in.
Two in one game,
all right.
Twice what Dortmund have managed. We don't talk about the defensive side of things. It was a great challenge up there by System, releasing the ball cleanly so that Reppy could put it in, get them back within 3 here. As Rotterdam will not be complacent. They are just slamming it back down the other end. A nice little touch to the corner from Trizzletam. Callio's here, looking to fish it in off the side, but that one cleared high, far and away. As Devon back there, challenged by System early. Understandably, Trizzletam just throwing himself because they've got nothing to lose here at this point to do Dortmund. And at this point that the maybe is starting to stretch a little bit. There's a lot of A's in it. It's definitely probably not going to appear in this form. Devon just playing underneath, and that probably it. Reppy trying the dunk. At this point, it's beyond a miracle, I think.
It's been probably it for a little while now, unfortunately. Maybe one more for Rotterdam. They're going to get fancy with it if they do make it happen, as there's players in front of the ball, and that's always a hard place to score from. They might do it anyway. 5 seconds left on the clock. That's going to be it for Dortmund. They will move to the 3rd, 4th place match. Rotterdam booked themselves a rematch with Loughborough. And I'm going to finally say it, Dialecto. That's a rematch I'm looking forward to. I cannot possibly imagine that the Rotterdam that Loughborough beat twice in the groups looked anything like the Rotterdam that have joined us in playoffs.
Yeah, that is fair enough. The synergy between the 3 of them, Callio, Ozan, Devon, they are playing so fluidly right there. Take nothing away from them. Dortmund put up a fight, a fantastic game 1 as well, but they just could not recover, it felt like, from the broken hearts that were caused because of the way that poor overtime ended. And Heyman, right, Rotterdam, they completely capitalized. And like you say, they will be in the grand finals of UEM 2022. And we'll have to find out who will take the last spot on the podium.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Before we get to that grand finals, we will be heading straight into the 3rd, 4th place match. It's going to be VUB Gaming from Belgium taking on the Dortmund squad from Germany. We'll be back with that match after just a short break here. You won't want to go anywhere. Welcome back to the Amazon University Esports Masters playoffs, where we are into the money matches, and I'm not talking CSGO. We are, of course, still going to be playing Rocket League. Game doesn't change mid-tournament, as that'd just be a little bit too weird. We do have our top 4 locked in. We had since the start of the day, but we now have a little bit of a better picture of exactly what order they're going to end up in. VUB Gaming will be taking on University Esports Dortmund here in the 3rd, 4th place match before we move to the grand finals, where we will see Erasmus Esports Rotterdam facing up against the Loughborough Lions. This first match, looking forward to this one, as we haven't really seen anything out of these two teams so far today. They've both kind of been the recipients of fairly one-sided beatings in the semi-finals, Tylacto, and both of them will be looking to rebound here in the 3rd, 4th place match.
Let's not forget they were their group toppers in the case of Group B and Group D. The team second in those, of course, they actually weren't their group toppers. I want to clarify. They were actually in the same group in Group B. Actually, I'll double check that information, because of course VUB won out on the tiebreaker. These are teams with a fair bit of history here in the competition already, and they come together to play for the 3rd place spot, the bronze medal, and of course €1,200. Loser goes home with nothing, and that is brutal, almost as brutal for poor Dortmund, of course, who, you know, have just come off that 4-0 sweeping at the hands of Rotterdam, and they got to find a way to pick themselves back up and go again here.
I mean, in some ways, do you actually feel all that bad about that last loss as Dortmund? You know, I mean, sure, game 1, a 13-minute long game with a 7-minute overtime. That's rough. That's a tough game to lose, especially in the fashion when they did it. But from there on out, Rotterdam just felt like they were continuing to get better. It wasn't just Dortmund letting their foot off the gas. It wasn't just them getting in their own heads. Rotterdam genuinely looked like an incredible Rocket League team, and just like they did yesterday. I think you can go into this match, right, with your head still up. You know, you don't have to have lost that much confidence over that game.
No, certainly so, but I just feel like their performance, because of how good Rotterdam was so flat, and in a time, I feel like uninspiring is a really, really harsh word, but at times it was, you know, for their standards and how well we've seen Dortmund play at times as well, as a representative of Germany coming in against Belgium's in VUB here. I mean, it's going to be a very different caliber of opposition, you would think, for this 3rd place matchup, unless VUB find a fantastic performance, unlike which they showed us earlier against Loughborough. But you see here the bracket lower down there to decide 3rd in the competition. I mean, for VUB, could it be considered still part of the miracle run if they get onto the podium? I'd say maybe.
Yeah. I say Kenta, you know, I mean, it's definitely not something we necessarily expect from VUB. They're a good team, but when it comes to the elites of Europe, probably not. That maybe is to say. They're probably not a top 3 team on the continent. But here they are fighting for that position. At the same time, I would probably argue that neither Loughborough or Dortmund are at times as well. But they're also here fighting for that spot. It's, generally speaking, a very exciting top 4 to be seeing. It's been an exciting tournament, and there's been some teams stepping up that we don't normally get to see big performances out of. And with that in mind as well, something we have talked about, Tylacto, is the pressure on these games. These are teams that aren't necessarily used to these high stakes situations. I could definitely see this 3rd, 4th place match coming down to which team settles their nerves a little bit.
Yeah, I think it absolutely will come down to just that, with the prize pool at hand as well. I mean, Dortmund, at times they looked settled against Rotterdam, and certainly during that overtime, they enjoyed a spell where they looked relatively in control of the game as a whole, but it just became defense simulator after that painful own goal that decided the first overtime. As lengthy as it was just defense, and that wasn't an optional choice. That was a forced choice, unfortunately for them, and it's all they could manage against VUB. I hope, you know, they can come out of their shell and remember how to play aggressively, because it will feel a little bit unfamiliar. And at times when they did get those half chances, those looks, also towards the end of game 4, it did feel like their shooting was a tiny bit lacking, probably because they had almost forgotten how to do it. You know, they hadn't gotten into those situations in so long in game, and it was just to have to make those on-the-fly decisions about where you're going to place a shot and are you going to shot can sometimes go rusty in the course of a game or series when you're, you know, left out from those choices for so long.
Yeah, well, maybe the option then for VUB, or the best choice for them this series, would be to just come out of the gate swinging, keep Dortmund on the back foot where they're used to being after the last couple of games. And we know they can do it after their series yesterday against CF Utopia. We know this is a team that can spend time on offense and can make shots count. Again, I mean, CF Utopia, not necessarily a team on the same level as Dortmund, but Dortmund, the confidence will be a little bit shaken after the last series. Whatever I'm trying to say about how, you could write that one off against a very strong Rotterdam team. I'd like to see VUB at least try and force the issue here in game one.
Yeah, Urban Central plays host here to the third place playoff in the Amazon University Esports Masters 2022. And VUB, they've had a little bit of a break following their first game of the day. Their loss against Loughborough, that sort of traumatic for them. 4-1 loss, but with some fantastic back and forth play, some overtimes, lots of offense, lots of defense for them. Wasn't always the cleanest, but it was certainly always entertaining. I was expecting this to be just the same. And what they would have made of that Dortmund, matchup, what have they learned? What have they watched from that series? Maybe it'll play into their favor.
They'll be certainly hoping so. They've gotten a couple of early bits of offensive pressure down there as they get the ball to their opponent's back wall. And Dortmund are struggling once again to break free of their own half. Here's the chance maybe to do so as Trizzleton will flick past one, but it's only as far as the waiting arms of LXS. There's System rotating in, though. There's System getting a lot of power behind this ball, and it's loose in front of the VB net. Good clear coming through from them. And this is looking evenly balanced in the first minute of gameplay. Dortmund definitely relearning how to break free of their own half.
Yeah, certainly so. Absolute with a little bit of a whiff in the corner. It's going to give time to System here. I believe has some boost in the tank. Scoops it back down and around, trying to bamboozle LXS in terms of the decision. Does he go high? Does he go low? Got it all the way to the Belgium's net. And therefore, a nice transition for Dortmund, who are going to have to find another one because Trizzletan's stretching for that one. High off the backboard. It is end-to-end early on.
End-to-end, but no goals just yet. 3 minutes and 45 on the clock. And Bram flipping underneath that ball, setting up both of his teammates who both wanted to go for an LXS, just had to commit. He turned away. He assumed the touch was there and the reaction time wasn't quick enough to swing the car back in for a shot. That's a shot on target. That's a big save from System as well, though. That's a ball still in the danger zone. Blue team threatening. The Belgians want it badly. LXS with a fake. A demo in the middle of the pitch as well. Repi pops the ball all the way high, and Bram looking for the car control and the ball control to get that one in the back of the net. Will not find it. We stay scoreless nearly at the other end of the breakaway.
Goodness, and another electric counter-attack from Dortmund that if the shot was on target would have surely been the opening goal of this series. Teams wasting no time at all in the midfield here. System's going to pick up the back boost. How direct is he going to be out of the corner? Trying to bait a VUB defender in. We'll get one, but Absolute's 50. A little too strong. Trizzleton unable to slam it clear. Didn't realize he had time, but also didn't have any boost. So that little bit of uncomfortableness from the prior series maybe still got some root in this Dortmund side right now.
System challenging that ball felt almost secondary to the fact that he was going for that corner boost and he was going to come away with it, and it has left a lot of space open in this defense as well. They're struggling. They're still struggling on the goal line. Very, very low boost for the VUB squad, and that's allowing Repi to just rotate back in, keep this ball in the corner, keep them moving backwards. VUB have somehow survived scramble defense on low boost. It's a difficult situation to be in. They've handled it extremely well.
Oh, the demo from LXS. He's going to get the opener here. He does it all himself. And the big Belgian putting VUB in front.
Oh, he just gets out in front of Repi, who doesn't necessarily see it coming. He's just got his eyes on the ball. He's watching roll slowly. He's got time to clear it, but he has no time left at all on this mortal coil as LXS will put the first goal in. It's a big first goal for VUB. Dortmund, they'll want to find an answer. They'll need to find an answer for the mental state. That's off the right post. A follow-up will be benched off the back wall, popped into the middle. No follow-up on the shot. That was a chance again for Dortmund, but how many times have we said that, and how often has it actually led to a goal? Here's a chance. It's in. Why are you going for a squishy save on that one?
Doesn't matter. System getting justice deserved right there after the angled shot hitting both posts and staying out. He'll happily collect that one. Absolute just overcomplicating the clearance there. Unfortunately, was going for a save. Could maybe have got the clearance to boot as well, but we go back to 1-1, and that Dortmund... that Dortmund deficit vanishes immediately, just the exact same, believe it or not, as the VUB lead. They both disappeared at the same time. How'd have thought about that?
That's a crazy coincidence. It may reopen, though, for VUB. That was off the woodwork. It's an attack. It's a 1v1 attempting to go back the other way, bump LXS out of his own net and get the goal through it. The demo ended up being onto a Dortmund player, opening for a little bit of space for this counter-attack. That ball will ricochet out towards the left flank, and it's back in. It's an own team save. They won't get the goal as the save on the goal line is there for Repi, and it's too many players. It's too many cooks spoiling the broth for VUB on that attempt.
And
they'll
it
still get a
works
goal.
out anyway. That is one of the strangest goals I've ever seen. Certainly, at least in the lead up to it. That team save, how unfortunate was that? I mean, a dunk here from Bram on Trizzeltan, who just had no power behind his defensive poke. It will probably quite rightly be 2-1 VUB, but not in the way, not in the way at all that we expected.
That was a second lease of life there for Dortmund. Here comes Trizzeltan off the kickoff. Will win the first 50. LXS, though, just pops it into an opponent who just misses the ball. System had a chance to maybe knock that one home, immediately tie the game back up. Still does across the face of net. Teammates aren't quite there. That's again, defenders bumped out of the way. But it is the play by Dortmund was just to leave. And by that, I mean, they decided they didn't want to overcommit. And I get it. There's a minute left on the clock. You feel you'll get a second chance, but we are getting to that do or die time where you do just need to throw everything at the play.
Thrown himself all the way to the front post was Trizzeltan, but he was unable to get the block that he was hoping for. LXS will get the ball, but not the boost, so he's going to run away and have to go get a mid boost here as well. But he's allowed to keep that ball for himself, getting quite attached to it, if he may, and already leaving it at any point as well. Happy to back up Absolute here, should he not have made the contact, but it's enough strong clear down into the Dortmund end, and that time continues to tick. Will they get that other chance that they backed off in the hope of getting? And Trizzeltan's doink is not going to connect as well. Absolute may be harried in the corner here by Reppy. He is looking for the pass towards System. The shot blocked out by Absolute, though. And time is running awfully thin right now.
There's only so many seconds on the clock, and that holds true from minute 5 to minute 1. There's one more chance. There's a big bump. It's on the goal line. Big save. Bram manages to get that one clear for the time being. Maybe one more chance left in it. The play is into the middle of the pitch. That ball needs to be kept up. It will be kept up. It's kept very, very high, but it's a fake, a miss. It doesn't matter what it was. It was not read by the offense, and so Dortmund will drop to VUB Gaming here.
Such a Dortmund play to make, and it was Reppy doing it just there. It's not shameful. It's just, I feel like so often they get caught giving their opponents too much respect. And it's like, if it's 0 seconds, you need a goal. You've already got a teammate backing you up. You might as well assume the opponent is going to miss. You know, I mean, it seems so easy to say back here, and it is far easier than when you're having to control those emotions and hopes on the field as well. But it would have been a relatively routine shot had Reppy have just played the whiff. It was exactly what he was hoping for. He was like, please miss, I'll get a chance. And then LXS misses, and he's like, oh, well, I'm too late now. I didn't actually think you were going to miss. And that is a painful ending to a game for a Dortmund side who at times were really controlling that midfield, but VUB getting it. They committed to their offenses, their plays, and they got the 2 that mattered, and they got the 2-1 win.
It's thousands of hours of muscle memory you're trying to overcome at 0 seconds every time, where you're like, I'm going to wait because it's a bad decision to assume that my opponent will miss the ball. And then your opponent misses the ball and you're like, well, no, wait, I needed to commit just in case he did, because it didn't matter either way. And that's the issue. You can't overcome those as easily as you would hope for these players most of the time. Dortmund, they need to overcome their desire to turtle up and to just rotate out of plays as well, because they had chances to really press the issue in that final minute of gameplay, and we called them out for it. We said they left maybe a little bit earlier than that attack warranted. It is not the play when you have a minute on the clock, when you are still a goal down, when you have the boost advantage. Sometimes you need to take risks. Call them calculated, call them uncalculated, whatever it is. You just need to try and make your opponents react to you for once, and that was not necessarily the case for Dortmund.
Link up from VUB early on here is a win for LXS into the corner. They certainly have the speed between Bram and LXS, and Absolute is looking comfortable right now in terms of his positioning too. Little backflip from LXS going to force a response out of Dortmund, who are happy to poke and hope for a loose touch out of VUB. They get just that. It's a touch from Trizzeltan. This time far more midfield play. That was a little bit scary. LXS is going to be very thankful to see that one fall outside the front post as he tries to run away with the ball here. It was all good on defense from the lads from Belgium. VUB, they were all stacked up, and yet no punish. Not really that the ball was loose and able to be shot. I mean, Bram's being bumped to the back line here. You see System hunting him, but he still evades and still gets the challenge.
Excellent work. Bram, that's a great shot. It's off the crossbar. It'll bounce out for the time being. Absolute will collect, and we'll try and run this ball down the left wing. See if he can get anywhere with it off the side wall. System just pops it down into the middle. That's exactly what the team was hoping for. Anyway, Bram will get denied by Trizzeltan as the 50 is good. Now, like this, nearly back pass again. This time he's teed it up for a teammate. It's gone off the back wall. It's off the crossbar one more time. There's the follow-up, and LXS will get the goal credit.
A lovely goal indeed. LXS off of this. Bram making the touch, and Reppy just not ready, I feel like, for that win to the ball being won out by Bram so convincingly. And I just worry Reppy just doesn't look as confident as we've seen him so far this tournament. He's been so big for this Dortmund side, and I don't want to call him out as underperforming, but it feels like that is the case right now. We've seen better, and right now we need better if Dortmund are going to be able to tie this one up.
Just a little bit too quiet, both on offense and on defense, and setting up the team for those plays. You need to turn it around. You need to turn it down. Now, we've seen so many times what starts to happen in this tournament in the best of sevens when teams start to fall 2 games, 3 games behind. Avoid it early, nip it in the bud, get a first game here in game 2 would be the play for Dortmund. There's a lot of ground to cover before they can get to that point, though. They're under pressure themselves right now. They will get a ball clear. They'll want to threaten. They'll need to threaten on the next couple of attacks.
It's 3 minutes on the clock. VUB. Here they come again. Linking up. That's not really a link up. That's just bashing it into each other. A big chance. Reppy is going to look for the bump this time, but again, able to evade and make the stop. Is it a one-trick pony offense for Dortmund? I mean, it doesn't matter if it works, but unfortunately, it's not that one. Not quite either. The save from Absolute. Denying Reppy at the back post. And still, Dortmund can't tie it up. How?
They just have not had that lethal edge, the killer blow in the opponent's back third in either of their matches so far today. They're struggling. They're getting the passes. They're getting the ball into the danger zone. It's patient setup from them. They just can't find a way through. Here's System trying one more time, but that time he just loses control of the ball. Didn't have a flip reset to try and follow it and didn't have enough boost either. The attack will fizzle out one more time for Dortmund. It's not an issue of positioning. That's just potentially in. It's not an issue of positioning. They're getting map position. They're just not getting that last touch they need.
And you see Emu in the chat there asking what happened to Portsmouth. Well, who are Portsmouth? I only know Hyman right here. This Rotterdam side with Ozan looking unstoppable this tournament so far. I mean, of course, they lost to Loughborough in the group stage, and it's Loughborough who they will face in the grand finals, but they're already looking fantastic today. And here are the 2 losers of our 2 series so far today, playing it out for the 3rd place position, and 1,200 euros. That's a podium you very much want to be on. And right now it's VUB in the driver's seat to take themselves there, winning game 1, and they're up in game 2. Bram up in the offense, looking for a double, intentional or not. My goodness, he finds it.
The speed on this ball by the time it hits the back of the net, as you say, hard to say whether it was intentional, but I mean, look, he was following the ball. He was definitely looking to pass to himself or to try and find the player on the goal line, and Bram will find a second. Dortmund, for all of the time they've spent on the ball, still have nothing to show for it. The big donut on the scoreboard. Dortmund still trying to find a way into this series, really.
There's absolute. Look at the patience in play. I mean, I feel like so often we see speed and just individual beats coming forward as the plays for VUB, but they've had a couple lovely little team passing plays as well today, and you see Absolute starting to look for them as well. That just screams confidence from them that we haven't always seen.
You're looking to maybe rediscover a little bit of confidence, are Dortmund here. A goal would surely do it. Now would be the time to score. Whether or not you win this game, and I'm going to say it, it's unlikely they win this game. Whether or not you win this game, you'd want to find a goal on the scoreboard. You need to prove to yourselves, never mind to us, that you are capable of scoring against this VUB squad, because you're going to have to do a lot more of it over 4 coming games if you want to find a way back into this series.
Yeah. I mean, this is just so rough for Dortmund after their dominating series from Rotterdam over them. They really had nothing in the way of getting their confidence going, whereas VUB a far closer, enjoyable affair against Loughborough. LXS will get back and deny this as well. Dortmund just cannot get on the board. I've got secondhand sorrow watching them right now. I feel so sad watching. Surely they deserve a goal. Bram is bullying them, though. Demoing one, bumping another. VUB, they are taking all the plaudits and just continuing to punish Dortmund's shortcomings.
I mean, how does LXS reach that ball? He was flopping on the side wall. He didn't look like he was going to get back in time, and yet someone did. And here he was threatening the other goal, stealing away their boost, just making life hell for the teams on the other side. The orange cars are not getting close. Here's the shot. It's denied one more time. They'll get one on 0 seconds. And as I'll say it, I think that is genuinely an important 0-second goal, even if it does nothing to the outcome of this game.
It is, because it's a great goal as well. It was a fantastic infield pass from System. Not easy to generate that much power with just a straight side flip. Trizeltan was there in the midfield, and so was Reppy as well. Not just following each other up, but 2 of them on the offense, when so many times we've seen none. But still, it's VUB with 2 on the board. It's none still for Dortmund. They're 2-0 down here in the 3rd place matchup, and we're halfway to having the representatives of Belgium, VUB Gaming, standing on the podium, Nurag.
They're close. They're doing what they need to so far in this game. It would have been nice to deny that 0-second goal. They won't quite do it. But other than that, the defense has been impenetrable for Dortmund. They cannot break through what the Belgians are putting in front of them. And if we see that continue for just one more game, it starts to feel close to done. We've seen over and over again, 3-0 in a best of 7 is so hard to come back from, especially when these first couple of games have been not very one-sided. But in terms of scoring, I mean, yeah, essentially they have been one-sided. Dortmund not finding their way through.
Yep. VUB, Bram, LXS, and Absolute as well, really heating up. At their worst, they feel a bit disjointed, and Absolute looks completely out of place and really struggling to find his place because Bram and LXS, you know, maybe they're just too quick or maybe they're leaving him out. But at their best, which they look at right now, it is such fluid play. It is dynamic. It is clinical on the offense, and the defense is relatively strong as well. So strong so that Dortmund couldn't get that goal until the end of the game. 0 seconds. It didn't even matter in terms of the result. Whether they can carry that forward in terms of momentum and an improved mentality into game 3, because it is 6 games lost on the bounce for them today, Nuralek. That is tough to take for anyone. 0 for 6 on this championship Sunday.
Yeah, you don't love to see that as, oh, that's a chance early for Dortmund. They will get it. I was not even given time to say, I think goal 1 important in this game. The fact that Dortmund have found it will do wonders for them heading in.
It's unfortunate for LXS, who tried to make the block, who ends up pretty much unintentionally passing to Trizeltan. It couldn't have come into an avenue better for him, and that is just the sort of thing that, you know, Dortmund need to fall in their favor for once here, and they will get the lead, I believe, for the first time this entire day for them. Score the first goal in one of the games is their first lead, and hopefully, because I'd say it's got to surely feel good.
There are many leads. This is mine. It may not be perfect, but I will defend it with my life. It's got to be how Dortmund are feeling right now. If they really want to hold on to this one, they might not. That's launched the length of the pitch. Trizeltan luckily was waiting at home for it to arrive.
Absolute back with his controller plugged in, able to come forward and make the play there. LXS and Bram maybe preparing to 2v3 for a second, but thankfully they will not have to. And Absolute will get the challenge on the offense. Down off the ceiling, it bounces for System. Reads it well. Trizeltan may have been beat, but he demos LXS, so now it's down to Bram to try and make something happen. And boy, does he. Passes to Absolute, and that is clinical again.
That's a clean finish into the top right corner right there. Bram does a lot of work getting there, burned a lot of boost just to get underneath that ball. And the touch when he got there was absolutely perfect. Set up Absolute, who again finish as well. And that lead, well, it was nice while it lasted for Dortmund, but they have to wave goodbye to it. They'll have to try and find a new one, and it's going to continue, I'd imagine, to be a bit of a struggle for them here in this series to do that.
Crikey, that flinging clear from Bram there. Didn't even know much about it. It was just there in the right place at the right time as it's doubled off the side wall again from LXS, but no, nice little counter here for Dortmund. Reppy looking for the double down. Nowhere near it, unfortunately. Would have needed 200 boost to reach it, but a nice attempt nonetheless, as Trizeltan's clear shut down aggressively. What a dunk, what a ratio from LXS, but will it matter? Because Reppy's away. Can he get the ball on target in time? It's just off, it's down, and the flip just off target from Trizeltan and Dortmund. Oh, that's painful to watch again. It's a great chance. It's great that they're threatening, but that one probably should have been put away.
You shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's the story of Dortmund's day so far. With 3 minutes left on the clock, they are at least tied. It's not necessarily the position they've always been in. Unfortunately for them, overtimes have not been their friends. LXS just carrying that one straight through. Won't even need a 50. He just had the line.
That bounce, so dangerous when it does not hit the corner. So easy to play from LXS. Happy to collect, and you knew exactly what he was doing when he popped that ball up. Not even a threat of the flip reset. He just air dribbled that one at speed directly into the German top shelf there, the orange net. Trizeltan just could not compete with it. It's 2-1 from behind. VUB comeback. Is there anything they cannot do right now in this series?
Lose, apparently the answer, as they look on pace to potentially win a third in a row. That's going to be a good shot, but not good enough. LXS not really testing the defense, and I'm not sure how that one has rolled into the back of the net, if I were to be honest with you. It
was maybe a miscommunication. I mean, LXS's shot lacking any venom, but Reppy's clear again, not into the corner, and that shot, Trizeltan just sees it. Perfectly placed from Bram into the bottom corner, and he's like, yep, I hope it's wide, because if it ain't, I ain't reaching it. And it's 3-1 to VUB. Poor Dortmund. Honestly, we need to start like a charity, like a sympathy charity for Dortmund. I feel like they've deserved better. Their performance this tournament, surely it doesn't end like this.
It unfortunately looks like it might. I mean, maybe they get a game back in game 4. Maybe things start to look a little bit better. But right now, in terms of series, it's looking dire, whatever the final score may be.
Oh, VUB, they certainly still have to get it over the line, and we may see them begin to falter. And who knows if that would let Dortmund back in as well. Trizzletan, nice control on the back line. It pops up high, and this one far too wide for VUB to actually make anything of this time. Trizzletan assistant. Communicating on the defense, although it ended up both going to block that one, and LXS takes it back into the corner anyway, pops it back towards the middle. Absolute, not enough boost to stretch and reach that one, and Dortmund can maybe come away with it. Trying to decide who's going for it. System takes a reasonably strong 50, but LXS, once again, picks up the pieces, and the second ball is his.
There always seems to be one extra player to do so, and so often it's been LXS for this VUB side. Has had a stellar playoff so far, continuing that here on Championship Sunday in the 3rd, 4th place match as well, doing a lot of work for the team, even if Bram is picking up a lot of the goals as a result. This time LXS will misread the bounce off the wall. We'll see it going flying overhead, and a bit of a fake in the middle of the pitch, and a good pass infield. Trizzletan is a long way away, and the pre-flip will not land the ball on target, but it was well worked to get up there once again from Dortmund. How many times have I found myself saying that, though?
Yeah, that's very true. We're trying to find the positives because the positives are reasonably easy to find, but they just can't sign it off. They can't put the result that ends up mattering. I mean, maybe here, huge chance, but Bram, despite being backwards, gets the interference, and the great chance for Dortmund denied once again.
Maybe one more chance. Absolute's going backwards, but the touch is good into the back corner. It's clever play. It's safe play, and it keeps the ball very far away from Dortmund's hands, and any chance they might have had at scoring it. Maybe off a big clear. Counter-attack at this point starting to feel like their only real option, as they are not setting up well in the blue half when they do get up there. Here's LXS with a full tank of boost and the player behind them, and maybe this is a chance to just bully it past them. But there are 3 members of the VUB squad set up on their goal line, and this is just taking far too long in the corner. It's buying time for VUB. They're happy to let this ball stay there for as long as they want.
Absolutely, and it's looking like if Dortmund do get a goal, it might be too late again. Hopefully not 0 seconds this time, as LXS threatening the double but can't get back down to it. Gravity just not working well enough for him. Nice pre-jump save from Trizzletan from the patient poke of Bram. But again, time is just ran out for Dortmund, who put up a respectable performance again, but VUB have just been better.
VUB, the better team so far in 3 games. Will it hold for one more? 4 is the magic number here in the best of 7. They look like they should be able to close this series out in 4, honestly, Tylacto, because they have genuinely just looked indefatigable, unbeatable. I'm going to say unbeatable in defense so far in this.
Undeniable is VUB 3-0 up, 1 game away from the bronze medal. Irresistible indeed. Certainly LXS's performance, one to remember right now, trying to bring it back for the Benelux. Belgium, VUB, this is theirs to take. They are fully in control, but Dortmund are not out of it. They may look it mentally, they may look deflated, but they still are not out of it. And if they can get that ball rolling, VUB, we've seen them. They've been shaken at times. They dropped 1 game to CF Utopia, and it was a complete rout to CF Utopia. Maybe with the home stadium buff, and clearly from what we've seen so far, Dortmund don't enjoy Urban Central. This is not a home stadium buff for them. If it is, then I'm a bit worried. But maybe game 4 is just, maybe 4's their favorite number. They looked okay in game 4 against Erasmus Rotterdam. I mean, I'm trying here, but Dortmund are going to have to find something themselves. I'm not sure I can help them.
Yeah, it's a bit of a reach, and I think when we're at the point where we're trying to rely on superstition and map and game number rather than having a clear path for them back into the series based off their gameplay, that's when things are definitely a little bit nervy. With that said, if we wanted to try and find a path back into them through gameplay, it's just score. It's capitalize, right? You need to actually get that ball through the line when you're in that opposite end of the pitch. It's not been the case a few times, but they are coming achingly close, but they'll get scored on immediately. That's brutal. No.
I mean, Absolute will take it all day long. This is a great shot and great placements from him as well. A delightful flip for 125, but for a kickoff goal after this, it is 0 for 7 on the day for Dortmund, who are trying to force a Brazil's worth of games to keep themselves alive here in the podium place match, and they conceded a kickoff goal. It's fine. If there's anything that's going to rally them and anger them about the injustice they'll feel like here, then that's got to be it. But LXS, I mean, he's looking for a double. The great read from Trizzletan. But yeah, I don't feel like they can afford to go 2 down to VUB right now.
Well, they might go back tied. LXS though has the save in the back wall. Yeah, maybe it's Michael Jordan, Shaq strategies there. You know, you make up things about your opponent in your head, and then that makes you angry about them. In Rocket, is the Rocket League equivalent. You just give a kickoff goal and you feel angry then afterwards, and you come back and win the game by many goals.
Maybe.
It seems like a much more risky strategy.
Yeah, I mean, actually conceding the kickoff goal is going to put you in a bit of a rough spot there, unfortunately. I mean, Absolute's a little bit of awkward touch, but Dortmund still give him respect there. And I feel like VUB, as great as they've been, certainly defensively in the midfield, they've been far from perfect. There's been defensive touches to punish, and yet they've just been, you know, watched from a Dortmund side who, oh, maybe a bump from Repi here is going to do it. But again, you feel like it's so frequently not on the same wavelength when the mistakes are forced. When they're unforced, they are so rarely made to pay for them on the side of VUB.
Yeah, again, that question of respect. How much respect do you need to give your opponent? And the answer is however good they are, whatever point you're at, when you're 3-0 down in a series, when you're 1-0 down in that series tournament deciding game, no respect at all. You need to assume sometimes that they are going to make mistakes. There's a mistake. It's happened from Dortmund in the middle of the pitch, though, and Absolute has gotten a goal out of us.
Poor system here. Just stationary, realizing could not reach that shot from Absolute, who's got himself a brace here, and it was just chaos on the back end. I mean, Repi chasing, looking for a bump or something to make something happen, didn't quite get it, didn't work out for Trizzletan. And I mean, I understand the chase for the bump. I mean, I don't think VUB should have had that sort of time on their defensive third either, but it is going to be 2 regardless. And VUB, what a fantastic performance this has been from them so far. Maybe a response, but no, Absolute gets back to make the block again. And that man has just shone and shone more and more as the day has gone on.
He has been stepping up hugely. He was the question mark over this VUB squad force coming into the playoffs, but he has shown that he does definitely deserve to be here, that he absolutely owns his spot. You've gotten a couple, I get to use one. He is proving it all here in this third, fourth place match. Maybe you go back the other way, but that's off target. When you have that much space, that much time, those are the ones that need to find their way. And now there's a massive overcommit from Dortmund as well. They're leaving just one home. System is the one, and System will set up a teammate, but Repi will miss. And maybe that should have been the one. A couple of big chances go a begging.
I mean, big is one thing. Open net is another. We stay scoreless on the side of Dortmund, who just cannot put the pieces together. System looking for the redirect down, but the shot again, not on target, barely even moving forward. It's so sad to watch. VUB, they're in jubilation right now. This 50 cross field, not going to find the top corner this time. The infield, maybe going to work again, but XS, he's seen that one before, and that time it's cut out.
Dortmund have been so close. And I like the style of Rocket League they've been trying to play. There it is. Maybe Trizzletan over the top will not find it. The infield pass have been there. They've been swapping up the attacks. It's going to go in at the other end. They've just... It's one of those days for Dortmund. Everything they try is not necessarily incorrect. It just isn't coming off. Execution has not quite been there. And now, in a tournament deciding match, they find themselves 3-0 down.
Just feels like, yeah, a lot of the time it's not even necessarily their fault immediately outright. Things are just not working out for them. It's like there's a multiple choice exam constantly for them, and they're like, no, it's been too many A's in a row. Surely it's going to be B this time. Oh, no, it will be the other time. I'm going to go for C. And every single time they're managing to guess wrong. Maybe a chance here. System will get them back within 2 here. A great goal. 100 seconds on the clock. Can they really find 2 more, though?
Can they close to within 2 at all for any period of time is really my question. It feels to me like when VUB scored, then Dortmund finally managed to close it back 2-2. But they can't necessarily get all that much closer. A kickoff goal here. Maybe that'd help Dortmund out. It won't necessarily work as it is moving towards their own net instead. Or Repi has moved it just straight upwards. It'll stay in the middle of the pitch. That's on target. System is under a lot of pressure. Absolute was looking for a bump to just seal that one out. It hasn't come off. But VUB, they're back on the hunt. Maybe a little bit too much on the hunt. That's an open net. That's potentially on target. It'll go in. It won't go in yet. It will finally. Trizzletan gets credit as he slams that one home.
And if there's one way to start a reverse sweep in a best-of-7, a comeback from 3-0 down is certainly a way to do it. We talked about complacency, and not until now have we really seen it from VUB, but a misread off that inside post. The gap being punished this time, and that's the word for Dortmund. They're coming forward, they're aggressive, they've got absolutely nothing to lose, and that's what's fueling them to come forward, as that shot from LXS leaving the crossbar rattling, and yet not on target. Pinch from Repi is so powerful, it turns into a clearance, and LXS can't reach it either. Back across from Trizzletan. Absolute trying to disrupt, but Repi is there into the final minute. Dortmund just need one.
They just need one, but they have a minute to do it, and we've seen them need one in a final minute before. It hasn't worked. Then will it work now? That's a big clear. It's nearly on target again as well. Absolute just passes straight down to Trizzletan. Trizzletan with all the time in the world. Gets a pass, gets a shot. It's there. One more touch, and it's Trizzletan with goal credit. Tied game in the final 40 seconds.
This the start of something magical? The tic-tac-toe between Trizzletan and System. The post felt cruel, but it was kind with its bounce. It may not have gone in initially, but Trizzletan, he knew to follow that one up. Ties up the game from 3-0 down. VUB. How much of a mess are we going to see now? The panic. They surely thought the job was done. It very much is not. That one nearly in at the front post. Dortmund, a new lease of life entirely.
They've remembered that they can score, and they're doing it over and over. Here's another one to go in. Trizzletan again. That's his hat-trick.
My goodness, it's 4 under well under 2 minutes. What is this response from Dortmund? They have suddenly kicked it out of neutral. A massive swing in momentum, but is it a microcosm? From 3-0 down in the game, they come back to win 4-3, New Alaic. I think you know the mirror image we're seeing in terms of the series.
Potentially. Still lots to do. The defense looking better as well for Dortmund. They're stabilizing at the back, getting those balls clear much quicker. 8 seconds left on the clock. If EV want to close it out, deny any potential chance, they'll need a miracle goal right now. It's a good infield pass. It's maybe a little bit over LXS. There's one more chance. It needs to just bounce in. The miss. It's a big miss. It was a chance. It'll be denied.
And for all the confidence of VUB there, maybe overcomplicating it at the end, the shot lacking, maybe it was a pass. Dortmund, a pulse has been found in the dying moments of this series, and suddenly the series will go on. It's 3-1 to VUB. The Belgians still just 1 game away from 3rd place here and 1,200 euros. But Dortmund, I mean, a slow wake up nonetheless, but a wake up certainly so. That is one crazy response they managed to pull out of the hat.
And I know I've said it to you before, Tylacto, and I'll say it again. I do think that if you're going to start a reverse sweep, doing it in a close game, in the game that starts it, is much better than doing it in a strong performance. You know, if it's just an absolute sweep, it's a sign that the other team has maybe let their foot off the gas. They have something left to come into it. You don't necessarily know how to beat them at their best. That was none of that. That was VUB trying to win it. VUB will try and strike first in this one, but Dortmund, the defense is already better. They're feeling themselves. They know they won that game on merit. There's a chance.
And Absolute was stationary again there for a little while. I'm thinking he's getting micro USB. You know when you get that poor cable and it suddenly starts disconnecting. He's at the back of the net there again as well. LXS having to come across. This is some fortune in favor of Dortmund, it's fair to say. As you see him here in the back of the net, Trizzletan, he's going to be up, trying to challenge, making it happen, but no. System's going to be hit. Trizzletan, the shot on target, Absolute's not going to be able to save it. And it'll be 1-0 Dortmund.
This is a twist to the series that none of us saw coming. It is Absolute with a disconnect for the moment. Things looking rough right now for the VUB squad.
VUB, how the tables have turned. You can see actually the orange flashing ping on the scoreboard here. Players responsible for their own connection, of course. I mean, Trizzletan off the corner wall. System shot on target. Absolute back, but doesn't look like he's very much in it right now. Repi off the corner. Dortmund, this fantastic comeback in Game 4 and suddenly a gift in Game 5. Suddenly it's all turning up Millhouse.
It's all right. This could be a continuation. That's just going to pitch back the other way, though. It's going to be 1-1. How's that happened then?
I do not understand. I don't get it. I mean, LXS, he's just taken a challenge and a demo in the midfield as well. Suddenly VUB back in it in this most bizarre of Game 5s on Urban Central. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen in 2v3 spots. Obviously, Absolute is very much here and then not, depending on the second. I believe he's still struggling. I mean, he's a little bit of a circle there, but he's back now. His connection seems stable, and that will certainly help out. I mean, if VUB can score with 2, why can't they score with 3 is the question I would have to ask.
Yeah. Why not is the question. Hopefully that hasn't rattled VUB too much. That's a big save for the time being, as it will be VUB managing to get back into this game a little bit. They're maybe a little bit fortunate with how things have turned out with the momentary disconnect. With 3 minutes left on the clock, this is anyone's game. It is potentially still anyone's series.
Here comes LXS with the shot. Oh, the crossbar down bounce, and LXS will get the credit for it. The Dortmund defender trying to get across and make the clearance is actually going to turn it into the Dortmund net, and somehow VUB, despite the difficulties at the start, they're back in front.
Somehow claw their way back here into game 5. 1 goal to the good for the time being, but it was a 3-goal lead in the last series that they managed to get turned around on them. Dortmund will be feeling a lot more confident about their ability to do so, but they may be down 2 goals again. That is going to be a 3rd goal. LXS has put it in as he had the man clearing the way in front of him. It was a big team play.
LXS just able to squeeze it in there for the near post, and once again, if Dortmund are going to do it, Nuelek, they're going to have to do it from behind. This time the deficit only 2, though, with 3 minutes on the clock. I mean, we can say that's great, therefore. It's better than last game. They've done it before. Why can't they do it again? But this is still not the situation they wanted to be in.
Yeah. They would not want to be fighting their way back from the deficit. 2 goals, what they'll need to score now. 3 minutes to do it in. As you say, they've done it before. It's not ideal, though. You don't feel good about having to do it. Here they are moving forward with the ball, though, again, and it's just going to be cleared away. The defense resetting from VUB. They're starting to get a little bit more confident. This is feeling a little bit more like the VUB we saw of previous games. But can they continue to hold it? It was the last minute where it all fell apart for them.
It was, absolute. Maybe going to restore the 3-goal advantage, though, and give us a direct repeat, but it's not to be the case. LXS, he's up. Past 1 in system. How far will this air dribble go? Trizzletan is the one to ricochet it off the backboard, and absolute up. Playing it back down. Reppy save away to the side for now, but LXS and Bram both interested. That loose touch. VUB look like they still have a 4th in them.
They could still have a 4th. They'll want to get the 4th. 3 goals, maybe turn it up to 4 goals. That's a big bump. No teammates there to capitalize on it. Now the ball moving back the other way. Orange players behind it, moving with intent towards this blue net. A pass into the middle of the pitch, and oh no, that's a clear gone all the way. It's off target. Follow-up shots there, and the save won't make it. Epi was trying. Bram will make it a 4th here in game 5.
And it is a 3-goal valley that once again must be traversed by the Germans of Dortmund if they're going to keep us in this series. VUB can once again smell it. They can once again taste it. The 3rd place here in University Esports Masters. Amazon, of course. University Esports Masters 2022. That's 1,200 euros. Dortmund, to think they came into today, have won just the 1 game, might go home with nothing after making it to the semi-finals. Surely they can't let it end like that.
I mean, they'll want to try and mount another comeback. It would be, again, a miracle from this point, but it was a miracle in the last game. They managed to pull it off. It'll be tough. It'll be tougher now as the day will continue as it began for Dortmund, with goals just going against them, but feel a little bit unfair. It really just has not been their day, Tylacta.
Yeah, simple challenge from Bram. I don't think he was expecting a goal to just fizz in along the ground. But it's 5-1 for VUB, and what a story for them and Belgium as a whole here in European University Rocket League to claim a medal like this against all odds. Fantastic performance, topping their group, beating Dortmund in there, and very much beating Dortmund here for 3rd place as well. Dortmund are probably not going to like VUB.
No, probably not. Beginning of another potential rivalry at the EU level. You'd hope so. That's a good attempt at the redirect. It won't quite come off. The crossbar denies Trizzletan. Rivalry started between Trizzletan and blue crossbars? Question mark?
Maybe. More of a personal level, that one, by the looks of it. I mean, LXS doesn't get the back boost here, so Reppy's going to be able to recover the possession, but Bram is just in position, and VUB, if they don't let their guard down like last game, surely they've learned their lesson. I mean, it's high up towards the backboard. Will it be dropped down? It will. We're back within 3, but this is an even steeper slope to climb than last time.
It would be so hard. I mean, it's a great redirect from Reppy. Where's that been all day? Those levels of passing, the finishing from system as well, to on point. It just hasn't been working. It's the same ideas. It's not like they're trying different things necessarily, Tylacto. It's just that now sometimes they seem to be working, and a kickoff goal would be brutal here. It won't happen just yet.
Reppy can't quite reach the second touch, but system certainly can. Bram is there looking to slam it downfield. Absolute is up, pre-flipping across, but can't quite reach the ball. But as regardless of the late goal for Dortmund, it's looking like it is too little, too late for them. They will go home in 4th, empty-handed, and it's VUB who will round out the podium before our grand finals here. What a performance from them.
It's been incredible. It will be 1 more goal for Reppy. Now the speech has come through. Surely there's no chance of 2 kickoff goals in 6 seconds. Surely not.
Bram.
Okay, we'll wait. We'll see what this kickoff looks like, and then we'll start making our decisions about how this series has gone. One last kickoff to the side matters. It is going to just pop to the side, and it's too late now. There's no way back into this game for Dortmund. They gave it their best. They nearly fought their way back into the series, but it will be a third place finish for the Belgian team of VUB Gaming here in University Esports Masters 2022.
Yep, and it's GG's all round. Who'd have thought at the start of the tournament with the likes of Dortmund and Dusseldorf, we would be without any German universities on the podium. There is certainly a changing of the guard, but who will be the head of the pack this grand finals coming up, Noah? I am licking my lips. This is going to be great.
It's very exciting, and it is, you say, changing the guard. It's Rotterdam looking to defend their title as one of the supreme teams in Europe. They definitely are one of that kind of older guard, proving, well, do they still have what it takes to stay on top, even with a slightly new look roster? Up against them will be the Loughborough Lions, a team looking to really prove themselves on that international stage for the first time in a while. It's going to be a banger. Congratulations again to VUB Gaming. Commiserations again to the Dortmund team. They put up a fantastic tournament, couldn't quite get it across the line at the end. For now, we're going to head into a quick break. We will be back with the grand finals of the Amazon University Esports Masters 2022. Don't go anywhere.
What can I do? What can I say? Please make it undone. What you did to me, I was so caught up when you happened to me. Make it undone, 'cause my heart is breaking. What can I do? What can I say? Please make it undone. What you did to me, what you did to me, what you did to me, what you did to me.
For one final time, welcome back to the Amazon University Esports Masters 2022, where we are into our grand finals. One best of 7 between the best of the Brits versus the best of the Dutch to decide who are the champions for 2022.
And this is what it comes down to. Another best of 7, the final best of 7. Will it be the best, though? In terms of the playoffs for me, still Loughborough, Dusseldorf taking the cake. That fantastic comeback from 3-1 down all the way to game 7. Will they need to make a comeback this time? Loughborough trying to take it home for the UK. Crimson, she said in her interview, UBM is going to come home, but I'm not so sure how confident I am, Nualea, with how strong Rotterdam have looked so far today.
This Rotterdam squad have looked absolutely incredible. Taking a quick look at the bracket to see how these teams both got here as well. Rotterdam went straight through the Portsmouth Paladins, both of our kind of pre-tournament favorites heading into that bracket, but they made it look, if not easy, at least very confident. They went through Dortmund as well, and Dortmund, well, they've dropped down into 4th position, missing out on the podium places, but they're still a good team. Their opponents in the Loughborough Alliance went through Dusseldorf Gaming Dragons in the quarterfinal, VUB then in the semi-final. They come into this also off the back of a lot of pressure, but you have to say probably not the same caliber of opponent as Rotterdam taking down Portsmouth in that first quarterfinal.
Will we have, a champion decisively, is the question I have to say. Will there be a difference in caliber between the two performances put up here between Loughborough and Rotterdam? I'm not sure. I'm thinking it could be back and forth. Loughborough will probably come into this as slight underdogs, I feel like, with just how great Rotterdam have been, but then maybe they won't. Loughborough did win the 2 matchups between these two teams in Group D, back in the group stage. Does surely feel like, Heyman Rye, in the sense of Rotterdam, have just gotten better and better as the tournament has gone on. And based off their performance alone, you'd have to say they're probably favourites to take the €3,000 prize pool. But again, the facts are facts, and who knows which way it's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Saw the roster there. Crimson and Stamina and Nando for Loughborough up against the Netherlands roster of Kallio, Devon and Ozan. And those are 3 players that we are definitely looking at to pop in this one. It was Kallio in their semi-final today, Tylacto, that really stepped up big, that made a carry. But I said at the time, I'll say it again, it made me a little bit nervous for any of their opponents that they look that good when Kallio was really the only one popping off for the first half of the series, when there's that much room for Devon and Ozan to step up and prove that they can carry the team as well. You have to be very, very nervous about which of these players you're going to have to shut down in the start of the series.
Yeah, I mean, in Loughborough's defense, maybe Rotterdam don't look that insane as we have our first game ready to go. Because, of course, they beat a Dortmund side, but that's a Dortmund side who still got relatively manhandled by VUB as well. So maybe that inflated how good Rotterdam looks. Or maybe we're just being harsh on Dortmund, that we don't need to kick them while they're down, because we're going to have to see who goes up and claims the champion spot, the winner spot here in the Amazon University Esports Masters 2022. Thanks, of course, to Intel and Twitch Student for making this possible. Here in the grand finals, we're going to find out who's the best university of them all.
€4,800 to be shared out between these two teams, but the lion's share will go to the team that can do things like that, bully their way through the defense. Ozan already laying a marker down in game 1. We're going to play aggressive. We're going to be in your face. Loughborough, do they have the answer? So far, the answer is yes. So far, the answer is Crimson counter-attacking at the other end of the pitch, but so far, neither team has made it work for them in the form of a goal.
Have to wonder, is the Loughborough curse going to sort of rear its ugly head once again? The spectre of the past. They're yet to ever really claim a major European crown, but they are no stranger to the finals of the tournament either. Dare say their record in winning them is not one to be remembered.
We won't mention it for too much. I know we have some Loughborough supporters hanging out in chat at the moment, namely a couple of their subs as well. So, we won't spend too long talking about past failures of this Loughborough squad. We'll look instead forward to this final, where a minute in, neither team has conceded. Both teams are looking very competitive. Hopefully, signs of a long and enjoyable series to come.
Yeah, I mean, every single one of those Dortmund games for Rotterdam earlier involved Rotterdam taking the lead inside the first minute. Loughborough have already managed to deny them that and come forward themselves as well, registering the 2 shots. Rotterdam yet to get on the board. Maybe Devon can help them do that, trying to find Kallio. I say probably not trying to find him. Kallio just completely takes over. It takes the double touch back towards Devon, but no, doesn't really link up. And it's unconventional from Rotterdam. Loughborough, maybe they can capitalize.
I'll try to, but so far, not really happening. The ball dead in the corner here. Rotterdam not able to break it free of that corner and find an angle to shoot the ball at. And so Loughborough will get a chance in the middle of the pitch instead, trying for a team pinch. It's nearly come off. The ball made it halfway into the goal. Callio was watching it the whole way. It was a very unusual attack by Loughborough, and that's a strange one to try and kick things off with.
Here comes Devon. Early flip, no nut boost to get onto the second touch. Ozan wins the race to it. Callio has the time, slams it over the bar, but also wide, so that bounce lacking any real danger because Nando able to flip it past one. Loughborough being a little bit forced on the defensive for now as Callio's got time. You see he's got time to pick his spot, pick his play, although he is forced here with an early challenge to play it around stamina, and Loughborough therefore can maybe come forward because of it.
Good effort again from Rotterdam, but they still haven't really managed to work it past the Loughborough defense, who are standing strong in the corners, who are just preventing the ball from getting in front of their own net. Maybe here's finally a chance. It's on target one more time. There was a shooting lane opening up, but it's denied by Loughborough. The goal line defense as good as the corner defense, but maybe not for a long. That's a good shot on target. It's a better save by Stamina, who keeps it clear for the moment. One more time it would have been needed though, and Callio has found the back of the net.
A great touch from Stamina there, getting it away from the goal so that it couldn't be shot by Ozan, but clearly it could be passed. I mean, Crimson, she's like, what? How have you managed to get that angle? It was a beautiful touch from Ozan, somehow glancing it backwards and finding Callio at the top of the box, and he was never going to be missing from there. And after a good spell of pressure, it is Rotterdam, the Dutchman, who pull away first.
Well played by Rotterdam. Both players wrapping themselves well around the ball on that one. But Loughborough, they'll be looking for a counter attack. They'll be looking for an equalizer. They won't find it that time of asking, but they are still threatening. They're still Loughborough. They still have plenty of wins under their belts in this tournament, and they have beaten Rotterdam twice. Good efforts from them, but it hasn't paid fruit just yet.
Pinched high, far and away here. Across the Loughborough defense, they're dealing with the ball relatively well. Of course, as I say that, a bit of confusion, but Nando will be able to run it past one. He's in a bit of a 1v1 situation here with Ozan, who holds his ground, and despite limited boost, will parry that one away for now. Potentially the best chance of the game so far for Loughborough. Not quite executed well enough to get them ahead. Maybe one carved out here towards Nando again from Crimson, but this defense from Rotterdam, we saw it when they were tested against Dortmund, right? It was very, very difficult to break down.
They've been so good on that, and for a team that has such good players on the attack who can pull off the miracle double touches and the sick passes like we saw from Ozan. Wait, we'll hold a second as here's a chance again. I think one of the strengths so far today of the Netherlands side has been their defense. They have looked incredibly strong at doing that.
And sometimes the best defense is just stay on offense, and that's what they've been doing a lot of the time as well, and they've been meeting Loughborough far better in the midfield in these past couple minutes as we are into the final one of game one here. Reminder, this grand final also best of 7. Ozan clearing it downfield. Stamina taking control. We're not allowed to take control properly here as Rotterdam getting consecutive touches in the 6-yard box of Loughborough despite having the lead, and that to me just screams confidence, but maybe overconfidence. Pop towards their net and having to parry away again.
Keep managing to parry it away for the time being, though. 18 seconds left on the clock. Top left corner was looked for, not found just yet. Callio, he is finding a teammate on the side. A second goal here would definitely seal it, but it'll be a long-range attack being launched finally by Loughborough. If they get there, the defense is in their own half. 2 players go flying past the ball. That means a lot of space to work with here for the attack from Loughborough, but it's a long pop over the top. And while they had the space, they haven't used it.
Yeah, Nando with a really difficult touch to make there. I feel like he had to just choose if he was shooting or passing. Ended up with something somewhere in between, and it just didn't really work out as either. And so Heyman Rai, the team from Rotterdam, they are the ones to go ahead here in the grand final. Since making it to playoffs, they have just looked fantastic, and apparently this grand final so far is no different.
They are on another level. It is 1-0 at the moment to that Dutch team. Pay no attention to the scoreboard. It is currently lying to you a little bit. And as you say, they have looked good. It is 1-0 to them in that game. It's 1-0 to them in the series. And you do have to, I have to totally agree with you, Tylak. They've looked like they're on a different level. They looked like they are playing a level of Rocket League above what, honestly, anything we've seen from them for a very long time now.
I mean, just a fantastic performance so far as well. This 1-0, maybe, easy to say, it's not that impressive. No real impressive goals, but to just take the momentum out of this Loughborough team, who of course came in having been 2-0 in the series they played in the group stage against each other. Loughborough will be relatively confident coming into this as well, already with a win under their belts today in the semi-final against VUB. They scored plenty of goals, but to be shut out in that game there for the first time today, kept scoreless, that is probably going to dampen that confidence.
It really will be dampening the confidences. They have looked strong. They looked threatening at times there, but it has been the defense that has been a strong point for the squad of Rotterdam so far in this playoffs. They've really been denying opponents, very good opponents, from scoring in these games so far. And they'll be looking to do it again here in this game. It is once again Rotterdam on the blue side. It is the Loughborough squad on the orange side. It is a little bit confusing. The scoreboard is back to front at the moment, but we'll get that sorted out. And in the meantime, the Rocket League is still good. It'll still be a goal, and it will be to the blue team of Rotterdam.
And it's the Dortmund treatment here. Rotterdam just playing with their food. Little triple touch from Callio down off the ceiling. Devon able to come in, able to collect, and within 16 seconds, like you say, just Rotterdam refusing to lift off the pedal.
Rotterdam will continue to accelerate forwards. They'll look to do so again here in game 2. I'm sure they'd like a slightly bigger margin of victory, as one goal in a team like this against a team like Loughborough, who can just score, will never feel safe. But the second goals, it is the Rotterdam squad who are looking threatening at the moment.
Devon is up, trying to play it off the backboard. Ozan there with the shot. Great save from Nando. These are tough times for Loughborough. Can they weather this storm, as we saw them do yesterday as well? Double demo between Crimson and Ozan. So Nando's going to have to collect. Crimson jumping out the way, trying not to obstruct. Very, very good team play. She's going to have to find herself bumped to the back line. Does reverse back up the wall with that bump and get the ball away well. Nice bit of flexibility on defense from Loughborough. Can they actually turn it into something, though? They've been relatively uneventful in terms of the offense since the opening minute or two of the first game.
It's been squeaked so close to that crossbar over and over again. As you say, Loughborough held quiet, and that's just going to be carried all the way forward. And Ozan, it's not like the defender wasn't there. He just forced the ball past them.
He's just turned on the rumble power up, the magnet. The ball just doesn't leave him. He even just manages to belly flop it in there with his bottom wheels. Makes it 2-0, as there is daylight between the two teams in the game. Potentially the series as well, but we're still just over 1 minute into this one on Manfield. And Loughborough have time to find a response, but currently doesn't look like there's one coming soon.
Just even breaking free of their own half to begin things, but they're struggling. They're on their own goal line one more time. All three of them underneath that ball. It's been enough to get a wheel to pop it high to stop the shot from coming in, and a dunk attempt in the middle of the pitch by Crimson not coming off forces a save out of Stamina, who has to travel a long way to even get there to make it. Loughborough are under all the pressure in the world, and there is no sign of relief in their near future.
And here's the pop from Ozan towards the net, forcing another defensive response out of Crimson and Nando, who have pretty much found themselves flex taped to their penalty box all game long so far. Crimson will clear it down towards the blue penalty box. How quickly will it be cleared away, though? You see immediately Callio up, and the combination of Callio and Ozan just so fast, so potent, difficult to deal with, and ever really get a hold of.
It's incredibly hard. Slippery players here on this side, and 3 minutes gone in this game means that it is a struggle for Loughborough at this point to find a way back into it. That's going to be nearly on target by Ozan. There's a follow-up as well, but Callio not able to get close enough to really contest the touch away. It is going to be contested on the way back, and that's going to be nearly in. Big save by Crimson. Follow-up there. That's another big save by Crimson. Absolutely fantastic goaltending.
Incredible. The tire of God deflecting that one away to keep it just a 2-goal difference. But will it end up mattering is the question. How big will that save be? Or will it just be, a spark in the sky that we remember in terms of this descent of Loughborough in the grand finals, who is looking like another European grand final so far, not going their way, but plenty of time left. Ozan, he's been very difficult to get a handle of course himself as well, trying to pinch it down off that crossbar, but not allowed the time, space, not allowed the time of day. Stamina with the delayed flip. Crimson, the orange arrows intersecting back and forth, none of them actually hitting the ball, and Rotterdam save it routinely.
It would have been very stylish if it went in, though. Some lovely synchronized diving in front of the ball. It hasn't happened, though. As you say, while there is plenty of time left in the series, this is only game 2. The first and second game count just as much as game 6 and 7. And the more you lose at the start, the harder it's going to be for you in the back half of the series. Loughborough are at risk of falling very far behind their opponents in this grand finals at the moment. And with the form Rotterdam are in, I wouldn't want to be chasing a series that hard against them.
Shot from Devon, not on target, though. Nando demoed out. Devon and Crimson are 50, a little bit away. And, we talked about that great save, but again, it's just looking more and more likely that it will just be a highlight in a defeat here in game 2. It's still 2-0 to Rotterdam, whose offense is just so fast. It just feels like they're so rarely losing races to the ball. And to really lose their possession and control, they'd have to lose 2 in a row. Currently, it just feels like that'd be once in a blue moon.
It is not feeling like Rotterdam will let their hands off the ball long enough for that really to happen for Loughborough. As once again, a clear going all the way out as far as halfway line. And a bit of a miss in front of net again. It's not a fake if the ball's not on target in the first place, unfortunately. And it won't get the ball anywhere. This time it's being left. It is a much better period of offense from Loughborough here in the dying minute of game 2. But it still has not led to a goal. They still cannot crack open this defense.
Well, maybe a dunk here from Crimson can force them to stay on it at least. A demo as well. So Stamina can come in and try and pluck it towards the midfield. Devon, though, up off the backboard, and he is fitting in seamlessly right now. A lovely delayed flip. Again, getting such power behind his defensive challenges. And we've seen him do that all day long, and he's doing it here on the biggest of stages too.
It's always lovely to see players stepping up when the moment demands it. And that absolutely is the case for most of these Rotterdam players right now. It has been the case all playoffs long. Game 2 looking to be in the books here. Loughborough will fall again. Again, please pay no attention to the scoreboard. It does still say Loughborough won this game. I can assure you that that is not the case unless there has been some dramatic roster changes in between the semi-finals and the finals. All of the Rotterdam squad heading over to the UK. The UK squad enlisting in Rotterdam. It is going to be Rotterdam who are 2-0 up in this grand finals.
I mean, it's not impossible, right? I mean, I guess
it seems
but I don't feel like the
unlikely.
enrollment probably wouldn't happen until next academic year. So just to reassure, that's 2-0 in the game to Heyman Ryan. It's 2-0 in the series to them as well from the Netherlands. Rotterdam, they are halfway to the University Esports Masters title here in 2022. Loughborough have put up a great performance for themselves and the UK to get to this point. But is it all just being completely muzzled out because they've been kept completely quiet yet to get a goal on the board?
It's true. And if the current series, if the previous 2 games are anything to go by, this next game will be ending 3-0 for Rotterdam as they just score as many goals as the game number, shut their opponents out, and bish bash bosh, that's job done. Move on with your lives, right? 3-0, 4-0 in the game 4 and win a grand title. That's the way to go, Tylacto.
I mean, what would you call that? We need a name for that. We know we have like the gentleman's or spaceman sweep where you lose a goal, lose a game before you then win 4 in a row. You've got the reverse sweep, obviously, we all know that. You've got the perfect sweep where it's all just 1-0. So you've got shutout sweep where you just don't concede any goals. But what about 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0?
It's got to be...
Is that like the straight flush sweep?
I was about to call it the straight flush sweep, so I think that has to be it. It definitely is. It works out flawlessly. And I think you could probably get... I mean, the word... It's the... you could probably get the word shutout there if you really want to, but I'm happy with just straight flush.
The flush is the fact that there's zeros on the other side of the scoreboard every time.
True. That it adds up nicely. Yeah. You know, I'm happy for that. They will need to present conceding here. That is the perfect one gone. The straight flush is gone. It's all over. Dreams ruined.
All the effort we put into that for nothing, but excitingly, it's not nothing from Loughborough on the board. They're going to get the first goal here off a bit of lackadaisious defending from the Dutchman, and will be the lads in orange here of Loughborough coming forward, and it's Nando to get it as well. A big goal for him to get. Rotterdam, their work cut out for them for now.
Yeah, they'll have to try and find a way back into this game. They'll probably be capable of doing so, you'd imagine, though. They score a lot and they score often, although they have been held relatively low scoring in previous games in this series so far. So 1 goal for Loughborough, it's a bigger deal than it might be in some other series.
That's certainly so. Devon is up, trying to recover on the wall, but can he really create something here with so many back? And wow, Azan just nipping in front of Nando and Stamina. You see how annoying he is being with all these little touches on the offense, even if they're not creating assists or goals. He is being so aggressive to play against. He didn't quite get the boost on recovery, but he's demoed out Nando. Devon trying to threaten the flip reset, and you see the half flip, the recovery, the mid boost collection. This man is everywhere right now, and he's going to get the dunk as well. He's superhuman, Nualek.
His air control with the ball glued to the front of the car. We've seen it a couple of times in this series, and I, for one, I'm happy to see it again because Ozan is putting on a show in a grand finals. His first grand finals with the team, Tylacto.
Ridiculous to think he just showed up a matter of a couple months ago here in Rotterdam. I'm not in Rotterdam. I wish I was right now to see this man play in person. I mean, 1-1 is the scoreline. Loughborough very much in this one, but it's so difficult to keep the dynamic duo of Ozan and Kallio out. You feel like Rotterdam have surely got another goal in them.
Yeah. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, probably.
They have found it pretty quickly. And it is that dynamic, one half of the dynamic duo, Calio just rising up. And Stamina was going again for a squishy save. And I've seen that a few times today, Tylacto. There is not enough time. When you are against players playing as fast as Rotterdam, players that are just playing fast on offense in general, they are not going to give you time to set yourself up for that one.
That's so rough for Stamina. I feel like he just didn't have any boost. If he would have, I'm sure he would have contested directly. But even then, he knew Calio would have been up for the rebound. He was basically going to have to pre-jump block, which, you know, had Calio not have made contact or not put it on target, would have probably resulted in Stamina looking very silly. But I do agree that the in and out was completely hopeless at that point as well. Loughborough coming up empty a little bit on the defense there from 1-0 up there. Now 2-1 down here still. Nearly 3 minutes on the clock here in game 3, though. Calio is up and going to get the block, but will he get that corner boost? Oh, he's actually going to be allowed it. You see Stamina jumping up, thought he'd secured it, actually hadn't. He's going to have to rotate up and around now, and Loughborough could have difficulty breaking out for a while.
Calio has used boost to good effect, has kept that ball in the back corner for a little while longer, but then Ozan and Devon will just send it into their own half anyway. Middle of the pitch not working out for them, and this is just taking on the world and winning. And Crimson, all you have to do is get that on target, all the space, all the time in the world. That could have been an equalizing goal. She's missed it instead.
And she's the player you'd have wanted that chance to drop to as well, but it doesn't look like she believed it was going to drop to her. Rotterdam's defending has usually been so direct and suddenly completely absent. It was an allowed, uncontested shot from 6 yards out. A sure goal at this level, but a lapse in concentration. Going to prove costly.
It'll prove very, very costly indeed. We've talked about not giving your opponents too much respect before, so we won't say it again, but we will just point out that that was another example of it. Here is a point where the shot nearly goes in from length. It drops again, a pass in field, no one there, as the rest of the team not on the same page. You need to take the shots there. Stam will try and fake out his opponent, but his opponent's like, yeah, you're just below the ball. I'll take that and go the other direction, thanks.
The group library session's not working out for Loughborough. Non-existent, very existent is another for Devon, who's just going to crunch up the defense again. Ozan supplying. It's 3-1 Rotterdam.
2 goals need to be made up by Loughborough if they want to get back into game 3. And at that point, well, if they don't do that, 4 games in a row that they'll need to take back in this series. The reverse straight flush. I see someone mentioning it in chat. It's definitely a chance, right? Like, I mean, if they just start winning 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 from there, I'd be happy enough with that. I think we'd have made something here. It seems unlikely, though, doesn't it?
Just a little bit upset that Rotterdam did get the 3. They did their job, but Loughborough have decided, no, we want to score. Like, why? Why can't you just give us the
rude.
call? I know. Imagine.
If this game does end 3-1, it's going to be deeply upsetting. You're right. I hadn't even thought about that.
It really, really is. What if the next game ends like 4-0 or 4-1, 4-2? I mean, we're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but you know, Loughborough, this is, you know, if you're going to go down, at least go down in really satisfying style. It's probably not the motive to go for in terms of losing. They are losing right now. Unfortunately, they're staring down the barrel of being 3-0 down here in the grand finals, and it's a situation that we're finding a lot of the time today. Teams having to mount the comeback, and it's just about how big are you going to show up here under the pressure on the day. And right now, Rotterdam are the ones very much with the answer to that question.
The pressure, not necessarily the pressure even getting to teams, but kind of just the match starting in one team having an advantage, having momentum in the first couple of games and carrying that to a few quick wins has been the story of playoffs so far. And it has been such a difficult time for teams to mount a comeback. Of course, Loughborough, pretty much the only team that has mounted a proper comeback so far in this grand finals, Tylacto. It'll be harder now. Before 3-1, now 3-0. 4 games on the trot. They will need to not drop a single game against the Rotterdam squad that look to have been absolutely peaking all playoffs long.
And it was 3-1 that it ended. You know, like it did end 3-1.
I was trying to avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a sign.
Rude.
Maybe it's a sign from Loughborough. Maybe they're gonna make it 3-1. They're gonna come up.
True.
With the comeback. It's gonna be very impressive. I mean, it says they're 3-0 up. They're not. It is 3-0 to the side of the Netherlands in Rotterdam. And they're very happy right now. 1 game away from the title. This series has blitzed past us.
It's been incredibly fast. And Rotterdam, they'll look to continue that pace. They'll look to close this out in 4. And 3-1, yeah, you said, I mean, they might do it. They might just ruin the perfect sweep as well, would Loughborough with a win in this game. And then maybe it won't count at all either. Just like in last game, that 1 goal didn't count for anything in the long run, just made our score a little bit sadder on the final result. But hey, maybe they'll manage to win this game. There's definitely a chance. Again, they've not been completely out of it. They have been, you know, toe to toe with Loughborough, with Rotterdam a few times in this series. It's just faltered for them in the crucial moments.
That's crucial moments coming up once again here in game 4. And the final, the Amazon University Esports Masters. Stamina clearing it downfield, trying to find a teammate. No one there for sure right now. Calio forced to respond early. Nice little fake challenge from Nando. Going to mean that he's going to be boostless, trying to make something happen. Ozan, a little too hot on his toes. A little too close. Pushed back for now. Devon just about beaten out, but another great challenge from him is going to buy time for Calio and Ozan to get boost.
It is this classic forward defense that Rotterdam are using at the moment, where you just really don't give your opponents any time to breathe, no time to think, keep them in their own half as much as possible. And it's been working out perfectly for them. There really is Loughborough struggling to break the halfway line, and it provides just that many more chances for Rotterdam throughout the course of the game. And there is the chance for them as well, as they keep the ball in the danger zone. Their opponent's third, and it's a bang goal.
And that's a great read there. Not from Nando, but certainly from Devon. And the faith from Stamina looking to follow up on the touch. He just has to watch as that bounces back down and up into the orange Loughborough net once again. Rotterdam's offense so undeniable right now. Nando's up trying to force something for Loughborough, who have just been completely silenced since the start of game 1, really.
True. And we should have known after they beat the Portsmouth Paladins, because you know what a Paladin's kryptonite is? It's temptation, and they are just at her. It's an irresistible offense right now. They're just too powerful. They cannot be denied. I
feel like Rotterdam need to come out with some sort of exotic chocolate set right now. Just to launch a line of adverts.
Or perfume. I think it's a perfume as well. Yeah.
Chocolates, you know.
Rotterdam, irresistible sense.
Want to send your guests home early out of the bracket without it even being close? Get Rotterdam Temptation chocolates here. A whole box of assortment, so much diversity their attack, but it doesn't matter if their defense has none of it. Nando will pop it in and get another crucial equalizer.
Yeah, all right. For as much as we want to joke about Rotterdam being undeniable right now, here's Loughborough scoring on a fairly open net. Ozan was there, but Crimson running interference means that we are back to a tied game. 3 minutes on the clock here. Can Rotterdam reopen the lead? Will Loughborough manage to put themselves in the driver's seat for once in this series?
Stamina will pop it up. Looking for the player cross, but not going to find the contact. That, if on target from Devon, could have really forced Nando to scramble back across here as this 1-1 scoreline. Ozan trying to again be a thorn in the side and be able to do on once again so many touches he has no right in getting, and yet continues to. Calio slippery set for recovery, but will find himself more forward because of it. Ozan again. This man doesn't just do one touch. 2 is pretty low for his standards right now. Probably. Oh, Calio putting it towards the midfield, but Stamina there to make the block for now.
Yeah, let's see how many touches on Ozan. Next time he gets this ball, he gets one and then he flies past it. A little bit unfortunate, but it does leave Devon with space to try and get the ball in. So, I don't know. Again, I'll be generous. I'll call it a fake. Say that he planned all of that in advance. That's bang top corner. Not quite. Denied by the woodwork. Teammates a little bit far back to capitalize on the space left by it. That's a pass over towards the side. Calio trying to find a teammate. Devon back into the middle. Does he have Ozan a little bit far away from the play, but very, very threatening by Rotterdam in this orange half.
Yep, Stamina's touch is a little bit backward stretching despite having the boost. Crimson going to be damaged on the back line. The net going to be open. One hesitation. Deer in the headlights and APO, of course. The Calio man himself. Straight down the middle.
And Rotterdam's attack, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get when you open it up. There's just a different thing every time. That's true. You just have Ozan. The issue is Ozan comes in many flavors. He's demoing you. He's looking for double touches off the back wall. The many flavored Ozan is a menace. Yeah,
most of them bitter or sour if you are the one on the receiving end, though, I have to say. Not much of a gift of a chocolate here as Calio out of boost. Nando, can he be once again a redeemer for Loughborough? Probably the best performing player for them so far this series because he's featured in the rare glimpses of offense that they've had so heavily. He's up here trying to make something happen again, trying to find Crimson up across. She will put it towards the backboard, but Calio just one step ahead, clearance away, and Ozan on the other end of it as well. There is such fluidity to this Netherlands side.
Pretty clean from Rotterdam. It's maybe a little bit too clean for Loughborough to do anything about. As I say that, we watch two players trip over each other from Rotterdam in the middle of the pitch, and that's maybe left room for a counter attack to happen. There's no boost for stamina. It does spawn underneath him, but by the time it spawned, he's the last man back, and he's being raced at by 3 players, forced to make a diving clear off his own back wall. Here goes Kallio, and it's a big save off of the goal line. But being forced to make big saves when you're down 3 games in a grand final, when you're goal short as well, it is not the place you want to be.
Under a minute now, standing between Heyman Wright, sweeping the grand finals and taking home €3,000. Loughborough, they got to this point, but what left? What do they have left in the tank here? Demoed out is Nando on the back line. Ozan opening up the gaps again, and it's going to be one that is taken by Devon, and the difference now is 2.
And that is probably it for Loughborough. Kallio sets that one up. A lovely gentle touch off the wheels. Sets Devon up in front of net. That dynamic duo, you talked about it earlier in the series, Tylacto. Kallio and Ozan, they are terrifying, and they have been a part of so much of this deep playoffs run as well for Rotterdam.
Ozan, he's up there again. Time ticking for Loughborough. They've come up empty 3 games in a row. Will it be a 4th? The Englishmen, they're trying so tough to bring it home, but it is so far from it right now as it's going to be open again. Devon denied at the front post by Crimson, but they need something spectacular. It almost certainly will be Heyman Wright of Rotterdam taking home the Amazon University Esports Masters 2022, and in a sweep at that.
GG's to Rotterdam. They have made it look almost easy as they walk their way through the playoffs, starting things off with the Portsmouth Paladins. I mean, from there on out, they had to be the favorites, but it didn't necessarily have to be this dominant, Tylacto.
I mean, dominant is an understatement. They conceded 2 goals all series long, right? Unless I'm misremembering.
Yeah.
That was decisive. From Rotterdam, looking like a powerhouse here. Ozan has very much announced himself here at the very top level. But you know, for Loughborough, even if it did have that sour ending, it's a nice bit of redemption for them too this academic year.
It's true. A top 2 in Europe is nothing to sniff at. And hey, I'm sure they can dry their tears with that €1,800 they take home from this one as well, after they convert it to pounds and get it into waterproof notes or whatever's going on in your country. It's very confusing at the moment. I choose not to engage with the British pound at all. The point being, it's an €1,800 prize for Loughborough. It is the €3,000 top dog spot for Rotterdam. They looked incredibly clean as they did so. They are the Amazon University Esports Masters champions for Rocket League 2022.
And the question, of course, will be, will we have an interview with one of the Rotterdam roster? I'm thinking by the looks of it, there's a good chance we have Kallio. It'd be nice to talk to him and get his thoughts after that fantastic performance, what that could mean going forward for Rotterdam. But then also, you know, is he going to be here next year? I actually don't remember if Kallio's in his 2nd or 3rd year, so who knows how much change there could be riding on the wings for them.
I tell you, I'm hoping it turns out to be 2nd year. I would love to see this iteration of the Rotterdam roster continue on in the future. That is a team. It's been in flux for a little while now, swapping backwards and forwards. Kallio and Onko, the core for a long time. But Ozan in for Onko and Devon and Kallio alongside. That has been incredibly fun to watch here in the Amazon University Esports Masters. I'd be very happy to see them continue in other competition domestically as well. I believe, and I could be wrong on this, that they did win their domestic playoffs this weekend as well, Tylacta.
They did against Tilburg and DSL, the Dutch Student League there. That was a sweep as well. Kallio having a great time. Of course, he was the only one playing on location there from the roster we saw today, but it was still more than strong enough, of course, alongside Onko and Jinx there. But of course, we'll talk about, I think the person we're going to have to talk to him about is Ozan, right? I feel like Kallio's going to be here, but we'll ask him half the time more about Ozan. What on earth changed since that group stage? What did they find? So excited to get to talk to him.
Yeah, and I wonder, is it just going to turn out to be, more practice with this iteration of the roster, more time spent getting to know each other, getting to know the habits, and maybe more time leaving space for Ozan to just do Ozan things, because I think he needs a little bit of space to do them up front.
Yeah, certainly. So, of course, reminder, thank you so much to Twitch Student and Intel for making this possible. I hope they'll be proud of what comes next from Kallio. The thoughts of our champion here this year, leading his team, Rotterdam, and what a story, what a redemption for the Netherlands as a whole. It means so much to them as well as a country.
Yeah, it's nice to see Netherlands back on top. European Collegiate Rocket League dominated a lot of the time by the Brits, by the Germans, which, I mean, partly just comes down to the pure number of teams they have entering most of these competitions. We still have Loughborough in second place. We still have Dortmund in the top 4. There was still plenty of representation from those two countries in our top 8. But the Netherlands, even with less teams, I mean, it has been off the back of Rotterdam, more recently off some other teams stepping up from the Netherlands as well. They do provide a good show at the European level a lot of the time.
They really do, as I'm excited to say that we may potentially have an interview with Kallio with webcam, not just microphone as well. So we get to see his expression, of course. And I'd be very, very happy to take home literally half to one team of the €6,000 prize pool. I'm just curious what he's going to be doing with it, you know?
Yeah, well, Kallio, you'll be the person to answer that. Congratulations and welcome to the stream. It's a win. You are the Amazon University Esports Masters champions for 2022.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, it was good as well. Both series we had a sweep, so it was nice.
I'm just curious. I mean, the man we have to ask you about immediately is I'm happy to have you here, but talk to me more about Ozan showing up. Just, it felt like a couple months ago for this tournament specifically as well. I mean, the group stage, you didn't manage to top it, but what changed this playoffs? How are you guys able to play so well?
Well, I think the thing was in the group stage, a lot of us weren't playing the game a lot because it was kind of just in-between stuff. We never scrimmed before the group stage as well, so the group stage was our first times playing together. Typical Erasmus, typical Rotterdam kind of stuff.
Yep.
And so after that, everyone started grinding the game or playing the ranked. And then now, after we had Portsmouth, we had no expectation. So, of course, we're not going to be nervous for that game. And I think it's just that we all play the same kind of Rocket League. You saw that we had so much pressure in people's halves that the third man's going before the second's rotated, but we have so much trust that we're already going to be back. So it's just very nice to play with, and I think we can see that in the results that we got.
It was incredibly fun to watch as well. We can definitely tell you that from this end. It's a very fun style of Rocket League. And so the question we then have to follow up with is this continuing in the future? How is the roster looking over the next couple of years? Who's graduating, Kallio, is the key question here.
Well, Onka's graduating, from what I know. If everything goes right with me, I'm graduating as well. So who knows? Who knows what Erasmus will be doing? Who knows? Maybe ERC's got the money. I might delay my study a bit. No, but so Ozan will be coming in with Dev, and then I think Jinx might still be studying there. So Erasmus will have a decent enough roster, but hopefully there's a summer, and then we can end the EURC summer off with a bang. That'll be nice.
I mean, as long as Ozan and, of course, Devon still are about, then that combination there as well. I want to know, I mean, you're taking home €3,000 out of this prize pool. Of course, you don't have to say, but I'm curious, what's it going to go on? And Devon, what's it going to go on for him? I mean, I know he's got so many superstar record label deals to sign on as well. So, I mean, I'm curious to see, if there are any plans for that?
A savings account, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to Italy next week. So maybe I'll spend some of that on some nice meals, or who knows. But treat the girlfriend with a little present, treat the parents, who knows. We'll see. No big plans.
None that you can admit to here on stream. We see you, Kallio. Don't worry about that. That's fine.
I'll admit to it. Don't worry.
Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Is there any final words you would like to say to the people at home? Any final thoughts on the tournament?
It's a great tournament, of course. It's the first year for UEM, so of course there will be some hiccups. But of course, I think they did a good job at the end. They getting the feedback and also implementing it quickly. So shout out to them. Shout out to Devon and Ozan for carrying me. Very nice. Sitting in the backpack. And a shout out to everyone watching, mum and dad. Everyone. Yeah. But my voice has gone out of LAN yesterday, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry. We've seen the pictures. I learned that Dennis is much taller than he was in my head. It's all been a very exciting weekend all around. Kallio, congratulations once again. Thank you very much for joining us here.
Yes, thank you.
And with that, we do wrap things up here for the Amazon University Esports Masters 2022. Trilacto, what a tournament it has been. Upsets in the group stage, continuing with some upsets in the playoffs, and then some very back and forth Rocket League at times.
Yeah, and a great day today as well to complete our podium here in Europe. Third place to VUB Gaming of Belgium. Runners up, of course, Loughborough Lions from the UK. And what a performance from Heyman Rye. Rotterdam to take it in back-to-back sweeps. They only dropped one game in the whole of playoffs, and that was to Portsmouth.
It's been kind of scary. They only dropped 2 goals in that grand final. Whatever does happen with that Rotterdam squad in the future, keep your eyes on them. They could turn into world beaters if they're allowed to. I think that is going to wrap us up here for the Rocket League. Again, thank you very much to Intel and to Twitch Student for supporting the tournament here, for helping provide the prize pools and sponsoring the whole event. There is more University Esports Masters coming up. That is not it. It's the end of Rocket League. I believe the League of Legends is finished as well, but the TF Tactics and Clash Royale has yet to begin. Keep your eyes on the channel, keep your eyes on the Discord, and keep your eyes on Twitter to figure out exactly where that is happening. For the Rocket League, I have been Nuleic. I have been joined by Tylactu. This is us signing off for UEM 2022.